When a desperate single father kisses his assistant in front of his controlling family, what starts as a lie becomes the truth. He never knew he needed. Daniel Brooks never imagined that one impulsive kiss would unravel everything he'd carefully built and rebuild it into something real. Cornered by his family's demands and drowning in grief he'd never processed, he grabbed the hand of the one person who'd always seen him, Maya Collins, his quiet assistant who'd spent 2 years in his shadow. What happened next wasn't just a kiss. It was a declaration, a rebellion, a beginning. Stay with me until the end, hit that like button, and comment what city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. The Monday morning sun cut through the glass walls of Brooks and Hartley Financial like a blade, sharp and unforgiving. Daniel Brooks stood at his office window on the 42nd floor, watching the ant-sized people below rush through their lives with the kind of urgency he used to feel. Used to. Before everything changed, before he became the man who counted minutes instead of victories, who measured days by his daughter's smiles instead of quarterly profits. His reflection stared back at him, 34 but looking older, the kind of tired that sleep couldn't fix. Dark hair slightly too long because he kept forgetting to schedule haircuts between parent-teacher conferences and bedtime stories. A suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent, but hung on him like he'd borrowed it from someone who cared about appearances. He didn't anymore. Not really. Mr. Brooks? The voice was soft, almost apologetic for existing. Maya Collins stood in the doorway, tablet clutched against her chest like a shield. Your 9 o'clock is here. Daniel turned, offering the smile he'd perfected over 2 years of pretending everything was fine. Thanks, Maya. Give me 2 minutes. She nodded, already retreating, already invisible. That was Maya, a ghost in cardigans and sensible heels, always there, but never there, if that made sense. 27 years old, and she moved through the world like she was apologizing for taking up space in it. She'd been his assistant for 2 years, and he could count on one hand the number of times she'd looked him directly in the eye. But she was good at her job. Exceptional, actually. She remembered everything. His daughter Lily's allergies, his mother's birthday, the way he took his coffee at 6 a.m. versus 2 p.m. She anticipated needs before he knew he had them. She was efficient, quiet, and completely undemanding. She was also, he realized with a twinge of guilt, probably the only adult he spoke to on a regular basis who wasn't trying to fix him. Daniel straightened his tie and checked his watch. Monday morning meetings were usually market briefings or client updates, routine, manageable. He could navigate those in his sleep. What he couldn't navigate was what happened next. Maya reappeared in his doorway, and this time her face was pale. Mr. Brooks, She stopped, swallowed hard. Your mother is here. The words hit him like a fist to the gut. What? Your mother. And your sister, and Maya's eyes darted to the hallway behind her. Another woman I don't recognize. They're in conference room A. They said it was urgent family business. Daniel's jaw clenched. Family business. That was code for ambush. His mother, Patricia Brooks, didn't believe in phone calls or scheduled appointments. She believed in power plays and public pressure. She believed that if you controlled the battlefield, you controlled the outcome. How long have they been here? They arrived 15 minutes ago. I tried to call you, but I was on with Lily's school. He ran a hand through his hair, mind racing. His daughter had a field trip next week, and they'd needed his permission. He'd muted his phone. Of course. Maya nodded, understanding without him having to explain. She always understood. Mr. Brooks, if you want, I can tell them you're in a meeting that can't be interrupted. I can reschedule. No. The word came out harder than he intended. No, it's fine. I'll handle it. But as he walked down the corridor, past the curious stares of junior analysts and administrative staff, who'd undoubtedly witnessed his mother's entrance, Daniel knew nothing about this was fine. Patricia Brooks didn't make surprise visits to his office. She summoned him to family dinners, called him at strategic times, deployed his sister Ashley as a messenger. This was different. This was calculated. This was bad. Conference room A was the showpiece, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan, a table that sat 20, abstract art that cost more than a house. His mother had chosen it deliberately. Stage setting, power positioning. He pushed open the door. Patricia Brooks sat at the head of the table like a queen holding court, her silver blonde hair swept into an immaculate chignon, her cream Chanel suit probably costing more than Maya's monthly salary. 62 years old, and she wielded her elegance like a weapon. His sister Ashley sat to her right, perfectly coiffed and uncomfortable, which meant she'd known about this and hadn't warned him. Traitor. And to his mother's left sat a woman Daniel didn't recognize, mid-30s, beautiful in that carefully maintained way that came from personal trainers and dermatologists, wearing a designer dress and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Daniel, his mother's voice could cut glass. Finally, sit down. He remained standing. What is this? This, Patricia said, gesturing to the stranger, is Rachel Whitmore. Rachel, my son Daniel. Rachel's smile widened. It's wonderful to finally meet you. Your mother has told me so much. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. Daniel's stomach dropped. No, don't be rude, Daniel. Patricia's eyes flashed. Rachel is. I know what this is. He looked at his sister. Ash, you knew about this? Ashley had the decency to look guilty. Danny, if you just listen, I don't need to listen. He turned back to his mother. I don't know what you told this woman, but I'm not interested. You haven't even heard about her. Patricia's voice hardened. Rachel graduated summa cum laude from Yale. She's on the board of 3 charities. Her father owns. I don't care. Each word was a hammer blow. Rachel's smile finally faltered. Patricia stood and skolted, and suddenly she wasn't his mother anymore. She was the woman who'd built a social empire, who'd married a Brooks and made that name mean something in New York circles, who'd orchestrated business deals and political connections with ruthless efficiency. Lily needs a mother, Patricia said, and there it was. The real attack. A proper mother, not nannies and daycare workers, a stable home with 2 parents. Daniel's hands clenched into fists. Lily has a mother. She died. That doesn't mean... It's been 2 years, Daniel. Patricia's voice softened in that dangerous way that meant she was moving in for the kill. Emily would want you to move on. She'd want Lily to have... Don't you dare. The words came out raw. Don't you dare tell me what Emily would want. The room fell silent. Ashley looked at the table. Rachel shifted uncomfortably. Patricia held his stare, unflinching. You're drowning, his mother said quietly. Working yourself to death, raising a child alone, refusing every attempt we make to help. You won't accept the nanny we offered. You won't move back to the estate. You won't even attend family dinners anymore. What do you think people say, Daniel? What do you think it looks like? I don't care what people say. Well, you should. You have a daughter to think about, a reputation, a family legacy. Patricia moved around the table toward him. Rachel is perfect for you. She's educated, accomplished, from a good family. She understands your world. And she's willing to be a mother to Lily. Willing, Daniel laughed, bitter. How generous. Mr. Brooks? Maya's voice from the doorway made everyone turn. She stood there, tablet clutched against her chest, eyes wide. I'm sorry to interrupt, but your 10 o'clock is waiting, and... Not now, Maya, Patricia said dismissively. Actually, Daniel said, something reckless building in his chest. Yes, now. He didn't know what he was doing. Didn't think. Couldn't think. All he knew was that his mother had ambushed him, had brought a stranger into his office, expecting him to, what? Propose? Fall in line? Play the role of grieving widower ready to be matched like some Regency-era plot? All he knew was that Maya was standing there, real and familiar and safe, and his mother was trying to control his life again, and he was so tired of being controlled. So Daniel Brooks, senior analyst at Brooks & Hartley Financial, devoted father, and widower who hadn't touched a woman since his wife died, did the most impulsive thing he'd done in 2 years. He crossed to Maya in 3 strides, took her face in both hands, and kissed her. For one frozen second, nothing happened. Maya went rigid under his hands, her tablet clattering to the floor. Behind him, he heard Ashley gasp, heard his mother's sharp intake of breath. Then Maya's hands came up, not to push him away, but to grip his suit jacket, and she kissed him back. It wasn't a long kiss, maybe 5 seconds, but it was real and solid and public. And when Daniel pulled back, Maya's eyes were wide with shock and her cheeks were flushed, and he knew, absolutely knew, he'd just changed everything. He kept one hand on her waist, turning them both to face his family. "Mother, Rachel, Ashley, I'd like you to meet Maya Collins, my girlfriend." The silence was deafening. Patricia's face had gone white. Rachel looked like she'd been slapped. Ashley's mouth was literally hanging open. Maya, to her credit, didn't faint. She swayed slightly, and Daniel's grip on her waist tightened, steadying her. "Your girlfriend?" Patricia's voice could have frozen nitrogen. "Yes." The lie came easily now, gaining momentum. "We've been together for several months. I was waiting for the right time to tell the family, but..." He shrugged, pulling Maya closer. "I guess this is it." Maya made a small sound, not quite agreement, not quite protest. Her heart was hammering, he could feel it, but she didn't pull away, didn't contradict him. "Several months," Patricia repeated slowly. "And you said nothing." "I wanted to keep it private." Daniel met his mother's stare. "Given how the family tends to interfere in my personal life, I thought discretion was wise." Rachel stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. "Mrs. Brooks, I don't think I should. This is clearly... I'm going to go." "Rachel, wait!" Patricia started, but the woman was already gathering her purse, her dignity in tatters. "It was nice meeting you," Rachel said stiffly, not looking at anyone. She left, heels clicking against marble like gunshots. Ashley found her voice. "Danny, what the hell?" "Language, Ashley," Patricia said automatically, but her eyes never left Daniel. "So, your assistant." The way she said it, assistant, made it sound like an insult, like Maya was something shameful. Daniel felt Maya stiffen beside him, felt her start to retreat, and something protective surged in his chest, something he hadn't felt since Emily, since being someone's partner instead of just Lily's dad. "Maya's not just my assistant," he said, surprising himself with how much he meant it even as he lied. "She's brilliant. She's kind. She's been more supportive of me and Lily than anyone else in the past 2 years." Maya looked up at him, and for the first time in 2 years of working together, she met his eyes directly. There was shock there, yes, confusion, but also something else, a question, a choice she was making in real time. She could call him out, could tell everyone this was insane, could run. Instead, Maya Collins, who apologized for taking up space, who lived her life in the margins of other people's stories, straightened her spine and looked at Patricia Brooks. "It's true," Maya said, her voice stronger than Daniel had ever heard it. "We've been seeing each other for 4 months." 4 months. She'd committed to the timeline, made it specific, made it real. Patricia's eyes narrowed. "I see. And you didn't think to mention this at Christmas? At Thanksgiving? When you were sitting at our family table claiming you were not ready to date?" "I wasn't ready," Daniel said. "Not until Maya." "How convenient." Patricia picked up her handbag, her movements precise and controlled. "Ashley, we're leaving." "Mom." Ashley stood, looking between Daniel and their mother. "Now, Ashley." His sister shot him a look, half sympathy, half horror, and followed Patricia to the door. But his mother paused at the threshold, looking back at them. "Dinner. This Friday. Both of you." "It wasn't a request. If this is real, Daniel, you'll have no problem bringing her to meet the family properly. Will you?" It was a test. A trap. But Daniel had already jumped off the cliff, might as well commit to the fall. "We'll be there." Patricia's smile was ice. "I look forward to it." Then she was gone. Ashley trailing behind her like a reluctant shadow, and Daniel was alone in conference room A with his assistant-turned-fake girlfriend, still holding her waist, both of them breathing too fast. Maya stepped back. His hand fell away. "What?" she said slowly. "Just happened." Daniel opened his mouth, closed it, looked at the door where his mother had exited, then back at Maya's shocked face. "I kissed you." "Yes." "In front of my mother." "Yes." "And told her you were my girlfriend." "Yes." Maya's eyes were huge behind her glasses. "Why did you do that?" Why had he? Daniel ran both hands through his hair, pacing to the window. She ambushed me, brought that woman to... She was trying to arrange my life like I'm some kind of chess piece, like Lily's some kind of problem to be solved with the right wife. So you lied? Yes. And dragged me into it? Yes. He turned to face her. Maya, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. I saw you standing there and I just reacted. I'll fix this. I'll call my mother and tell her it was a joke or I was confused or... 4 months, Maya said. Daniel stopped. What? I said 4 months. You said several months, which could have been anything, but I made it specific. She picked up her tablet from where it had fallen, brushing invisible dust off its case. If you call her now and tell her it was a joke, you'll look unstable. If you tell her you were confused, she'll use it as ammunition, and if you tell her the truth, she'll show up with another Rachel, Daniel finished, and another, until I give in. Maya nodded slowly. Your mother doesn't strike me as someone who accepts defeat easily. No, she doesn't. Daniel studied his assistant, really looked at her for maybe the first time. Maya was pretty in that understated way people overlooked. Brown hair usually in a bun, glasses, minimal makeup. She dressed like she was trying to disappear, but right now, with her cheeks still flushed and her eyes bright with something, she didn't look like someone who disappeared. She looked real. So what do we do? He asked. Maya bit her lip, thinking. It was strange watching her process something that wasn't a schedule change or a client meeting. Personal. Stakes that mattered. Friday dinner, she said finally. That's 4 days away. You think we should go through with it? I think if you don't, your mother will escalate. She'll bring more women. She'll involve Lily. Maya paused. She'll make your life impossible until you do what she wants, won't she? Daniel thought about the past 2 years. The constant pressure to move back to the family estate. The nannies his mother hired without asking. The surprise visits from appropriate single women at family gatherings. The comments about Lily needing stability, structure, a proper mother figure. Yes, he admitted. She will. Then we keep up the pretense. Temporarily. Maya pushed her glasses up her nose, a nervous gesture he'd seen 1,000 times. We go to the dinner. We convince your family we're together. We buy you some time and space to live your life without interference. And then we break up, quietly, in a few months. We tell your mother it didn't work out, but we tried, and she'll have to accept that you're not ready. It was logical, practical, the kind of problem-solving Maya did every day with schedules and conflicts. It was also completely insane. Maya, I can't ask you to do this. You didn't ask. I'm offering. She met his eyes again, and there was something different in her expression now, determined. Mr. Brooks, Daniel, you've been a good boss to me. You've been kind when you didn't have to be. You trusted me with important work. She stopped, swallowed. When my apartment flooded last year, you let me work from home for 2 weeks without question. You sent flowers when my grandmother died. You noticed when I was struggling, and you made it easier. Daniel barely remembered those things. They'd seemed like basic human decency. So let me help you, Maya continued, just for a little while, just until your mother backs off. He should say no. Should tell her this was inappropriate and risky and would probably blow up in their faces. Should do the responsible thing. But Daniel was so tired of being responsible, so tired of being managed and controlled and pushed toward decisions other people made for him. And Maya was offering him an out, a way to breathe. Okay, he heard himself say. Okay, but we need rules, boundaries. This is a professional arrangement to solve a personal problem. We keep it clean. Maya nodded. Agreed. What kind of boundaries? Daniel started pacing, his mind shifting into analytical mode, the same mode he used for market projections and risk assessments. We need to establish a believable timeline. You said 4 months. That means we started dating in September. We need a story. How we started. First date. When we realized it was serious. September, Maya repeated, thinking. The company retreat. You were stressed about the Hendricks account, and I stayed late to help you prep for the presentation. You did stay late. Daniel remembered now. Maya had ordered dinner, made coffee, caught 3 errors in his slides. We worked until almost midnight. And afterward, you walked me to my subway. Maya's voice was gaining confidence, building the story. You said thank you, really said it, like you meant it. And I... She paused and something flickered across her face. I realized you'd never really looked at me before. Not like a person. But that night you did. There was something too real in how she said it. Something that made Daniel wonder if they were still making up a story. So that's how it started, he said slowly. A late night at the office, connection over work. Very us. Very professional, Maya agreed. Nothing inappropriate. Just two people who worked together realizing they had more in common than they thought. First date? Coffee, the cafe on 5th, the one you go to every morning at 6 a.m. Daniel blinked. You know where I get my coffee? Maya's cheeks colored. I've noticed. Sometimes you come in with their cup, the green logo. She'd noticed. Of course she had. Maya noticed everything. Okay, coffee date, casual, low pressure. He was warming to this now, seeing the architecture of the lie. When did we tell people? We didn't. Not at first. Maya adjusted her glasses. We kept it quiet because of office politics. Didn't want people to think you were giving me preferential treatment. But people at work will know this is fake. They see us every day. Do they, though? Maya tilted her head. Do they see us together, or do they see a boss and an assistant? I bring you coffee. I manage your schedule. I'm in your office constantly. If we say we've been hiding a relationship, who's going to contradict us? Who actually pays attention? She was right. Office dynamics meant people saw roles, not people. Maya was furniture to most of the staff. Useful, present, invisible. You're good at this, Daniel said. I read a lot of fiction. There was a hint of a smile. Romance novels, specifically. I know the tropes. Romance novels. Daniel tried to picture Maya curled up reading romance novels and couldn't quite reconcile it with the woman who color-coded his calendar and spoke in quiet monosyllables. What else do we need? He asked. We need to seem comfortable together. Your mother will be watching for signs we're lying. Maya set her tablet down on the conference table. We should probably spend time together before Friday. Practice. So it doesn't seem forced. Practice dating. Practice being a couple. Maya's professional mask was fully in place now. We should know basic things about each other. Favorites, habits, things couples would know. We already work together. I know you take your coffee black, you're allergic to shellfish, and you're terrified of heights. Maya's eyebrows rose. You know I'm afraid of heights? You got pale when we did that client meeting on the 78th floor. I noticed. Something shifted in her expression. Oh. The silence stretched between them, awkward now. Daniel cleared his throat. We should probably exchange phone numbers, personal ones, so we can coordinate. We already have each other's numbers. Work numbers. We need personal ones. For authenticity. Maya pulled out her phone, rattled off her number. Daniel saved it, sent her a text. This is insane. Her phone buzzed. She looked at the message and smiled, actually smiled. Completely insane. We're really doing this, Daniel said. We're really doing this, Maya confirmed. They stared at each other in the glass-walled conference room, the Manhattan skyline behind them, both of them probably wondering the same thing. What the hell had they just agreed to? Maya broke first, bending to pick up a pen that had rolled under the table. Your 10 o'clock is actually waiting, Mrs. Richardson from Apex Consulting. She's been in the lobby for 20 minutes. Right. Work. Reality. The world hadn't stopped just because Daniel had kissed his assistant and fabricated a relationship. Tell her I'll be right there. And Maya? She paused at the door, looking back. Thank you for going along with this. I know it's fine, Maya interrupted. Really, we'll figure it out. She left, efficient as always, leaving Daniel alone with the weight of what he'd done. He'd lied to his mother, involved an employee in a fake relationship, kissed a woman who worked for him. He should feel guilty, should feel panicked. Instead, for the first time in 2 years, Daniel Brooks felt like he'd taken control of something. like he'd made a choice that was his and his alone, even if that choice was completely, utterly insane. His phone buzzed. A text from Ashley. "Call me, now." Daniel ignored it, straightening his tie and heading for his office. Mrs. Richardson was waiting. Work was waiting. Lily would need to be picked up from school at 3:30. Life was waiting, but Friday dinner with his mother was waiting too, and Daniel had 4 days to turn a lie into something convincing enough to fool Patricia Brooks. 4 days to teach himself and Maya how to look like they were in love. The thought should have terrified him. Instead, as he settled into his meeting with Mrs. Richardson, discussing market trends and portfolio adjustments, part of his mind was already planning, thinking about Maya, about how to make this work, about how, when he'd kissed her, for just a second, it hadn't felt like pretending at all. By the time Daniel made it home that evening, his head was pounding and his phone had 17 missed calls from his mother and sister combined. He'd ignored all of them. The brownstone in Brooklyn was dark except for the kitchen light. Mrs. Chen, his elderly neighbor who picked up Lily from school on days Daniel couldn't leave work early, had left a note on the counter. "Lily had dinner, homework done. She's drawing in her room. Mrs. C." Daniel climbed the stairs, loosening his tie. Lily's door was half open, soft music playing. He knocked gently. "Daddy!" His daughter looked up from her desk, face lighting up. 6 years old, dark curls like her mother, Emily's smile. She scrambled off her chair and launched herself at him. Daniel caught her, lifting her up despite his tired arms. "Hey, Ladybug, how was school?" "Good. We learned about butterflies. Did you know they taste with their feet?" "I did not know that. That's disgusting," Lily giggled. "Mrs. Chen made spaghetti for dinner. There's some left if you're hungry." "I'll eat later. What are you drawing?" She wriggled down, pulling him to her desk. Paper scattered everywhere, her usual creative chaos. But the one she pointed to made Daniel's breath catch. It was a family. A stick figure man, a small girl, and a woman with brown hair. "That's you," Lily pointed to the man. "That's me. And that's Maya." Daniel's heart stopped. "Maya? From my work?" "Uh-huh." "Yeah. I like Maya. She's nice. She helped me with my school project last month when I came to your office, remember? And she gave me her colored pens." Lily beamed up at him. "Is Maya your girlfriend now?" The question hit like a truck. "What? Why would you—" Grandma called. She talked to Mrs. Chen. She sounded angry. Lily's smile dimmed. "She said you have a girlfriend named Maya, and I should have been told first. Are you mad at Grandma?" Daniel knelt down, taking his daughter's hands. Patricia had called the house, had talked to Mrs. Chen, had probably interrogated the poor woman about Maya, about Daniel's personal life. Boundaries. His mother had no concept of them. "I'm not mad, Ladybug. And yes, Maya is— we're spending time together." "Like boyfriend and girlfriend?" "Something like that." "Good." Lily nodded decisively. "I like her better than the other ladies Grandma keeps bringing to dinner." Daniel blinked. "What other ladies?" "The boring ones who ask me questions like I'm a baby and smell like too much perfume. Maya doesn't do that. Maya talks to me like a person." Lily went back to her drawing, adding more details to stick Maya. "When do I get to see her again?" "Friday. She's coming to Grandma's house for dinner." "Can she sit next to me?" "I'll make sure she does." Lily hugged him suddenly, fierce and tight. "I'm glad you have a girlfriend, Daddy. You've been sad for a really long time." The words pierced straight through him. Daniel held his daughter, this little human who saw too much, who'd watched him grieve for 2 years, and was still somehow okay. "I love you, Ladybug." "Love you too. Can I stay up an extra 30 minutes? I want to finish my drawing for Maya." 30 minutes, then teeth in bed." "Deal." Daniel retreated to his own room, closing the door and leaning against it. His phone buzzed again. Ashley, calling for the 18th time. He answered. "Are you insane?" His sister's voice exploded through the speaker. "Hello to you too, Ash." "Don't hello me. What were you thinking? Kissing your assistant? Lying to Mom? Do you have any idea what you've started?" "I know exactly what I've started." Daniel moved to his window, looking out at brownstone Brooklyn, worlds away from his mother's Manhattan penthouse. I started taking control of my own life. By lying? By setting boundaries, something you should try. Ashley went quiet. Then, "That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time you stood up to Mom? When was the last time you made a decision she didn't approve first?" "This isn't about me. It's exactly about you, about all of us, about how we let her run our lives like we're still children instead of adults." Daniel's grip on the phone tightened. "She brought a stranger to my office, Ash, tried to set me up like some kind of arranged marriage. That's not okay. She's worried about you, about Lily. She's controlling. There's a difference." Silence. Then Ashley sighed. "Is it real? With Maya?" The question caught him off guard. "Does it matter?" "Danny, it's complicated." "That's not an answer." "It's the only answer I have right now." Daniel rubbed his eyes. "Look, we're coming to dinner on Friday. Maya and I will be civil, but Mom needs to back off." "You're playing a dangerous game." "Then it's my game to play, my risk, my life." Ashley was quiet for a long moment. "Maya seems nice. Quiet. Is she okay with this, whatever this is?" "She's okay." "Did you ask her or tell her?" The distinction stung because it was fair. "She offered to help." "Danny, she works for you. There's a power dynamic there. Did she really offer, or did she feel like she couldn't say no?" The question made his stomach turn. Maya had offered, hadn't she? But Ashley was right. There was a power dynamic. He was her boss. He paid her salary. He controlled her professional future. What if she'd felt trapped? What if the kiss had been assault and she'd been too shocked or too afraid for her job to push him away? "I need to go," Daniel said. "Lily's bedtime." "Think about what I said, please." He hung up and stood in the dark, replaying the conference room. Maya's shock, her choice, the way she'd gripped his jacket and kissed him back. Had she wanted to? Or had she panicked and gone along? His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. No, wait. Maya. Her personal number. "Your mother just called me." Daniel's blood went cold. He dialed immediately. Maya answered on the first ring. "Hi." "What did she say?" No preamble, no small talk. "She invited me to lunch tomorrow, just the two of us. She said she wanted to get to know the woman who captured her son's heart." Maya's voice was steady, but he could hear the tremor underneath. "I think it's a test. You don't have to go. If I don't, she'll know something's wrong. Girlfriends meet the mother. It's expected." "Maya, my sister just asked me something I should have asked you first." Daniel turned from the window. "Did you really want to help me today, or did you feel like you had to because I'm your boss?" The pause was too long. "I chose to help," Maya said finally. "Nobody forced me." "That's not the same as wanting to." Another pause. "Mr. Brooks, Daniel, I'm aware of the power dynamic. I'm not naive, but I'm also not helpless. If I didn't want to do this, I would have said no in the conference room. I would have pulled away when you kissed me. I would have contradicted you in front of your mother." "You would have?" He needed to hear it, needed to know. "Yes, I've been invisible for a long time, but that's been my choice. Being quiet doesn't mean being weak." Her voice strengthened. "I'm helping you because I want to, because you've been kind to me, and because honestly, your mother bringing that woman to ambush you made me angry. I don't like bullies." Something in Daniel's chest loosened. Okay, but if this gets too weird or too much, you tell me. Promise." "I promise. Now what do I do about lunch tomorrow?" "Go. But I'll prep you first. Meet me at my place tonight. We need to practice." "Tonight?" Maya sounded startled. "It's almost 9. "I know. But if you're meeting my mother tomorrow, you need to be ready. She'll ask you questions, personal things. She'll be looking for inconsistencies." He paused. "Unless you're busy." "I'm not busy." A rueful laugh. "I'm never busy. I'll be there in 45 minutes. Text me your address." Daniel sent the address and then stood in his bedroom, staring at his phone, wondering what he'd become. A man coaching his fake girlfriend on how to lie to his mother. 2 years ago, he'd been married. happy. Building a life with Emily and baby Lily. They'd had plans, a house in the suburbs, maybe another kid, growing old together. Then Emily had died. Aneurysm, sudden. One moment she was laughing at breakfast, the next she was gone. And Daniel had spent 2 years in survival mode, being Lily's father, being good at his job, being functional. He hadn't dated, hadn't even thought about it. The few times his mother had pushed eligible women at him, he'd politely declined. Not ready, not interested. But today he'd kissed Maya Collins, and it hadn't felt like pretending. That should terrify him more than it did. Lily called from a room that she was ready for bed. Daniel went through the routine, teeth brushed, pajamas on, stuffed animals arranged just right. He read her Charlotte's Web, the same chapter they'd been on for 3 nights because Lily kept asking him to reread her favorite parts. When her breathing evened out and she was asleep, Daniel went downstairs and started coffee. Then he cleaned the kitchen, which didn't need cleaning, straightened the living room, which was already straight. Nervous energy. He was nervous. The doorbell rang at 9:47 p.m. Maya stood on his stoop in jeans and a sweater, looking younger without her office clothes. More real. She held a small bag, probably her tablet and notes, because of course she'd bring notes. "Hi," she said. "Hi, come in." She stepped into his brownstone, looking around with curious eyes. Daniel tried to see it through her perspective. The toy bin in the corner, Lily's drawings on the fridge, the family photos on the mantle that were all before Emily died. "You have a nice home," Maya said softly. "Thanks. Coffee?" "Please." They sat at the kitchen table, 2 mugs between them, and for a moment neither spoke. It was strange seeing her here in his personal space. She'd always been in his office, his work life. Separate. Now she was in his kitchen. "So," Maya said finally, "your mother." "Right, Patricia Brooks, formerly Patricia Ashford, 62, widow for 5 years, lives in a penthouse on the Upper East Side, serves on 4 charity boards and controls about 40% of my father's estate." Daniel ticked off facts like a briefing. "She's smart, ruthless, and believes that family image is everything. She'll ask you about your background, your education, your family." "My background is boring, state school, middle-class family from Ohio. No scandals." "She'll find a way to make you feel less than anyway. That's her gift." Maya nodded, taking notes on her tablet. "What else?" "She'll want to know about us. How we met, when we fell in love, what our plans are. She'll be looking for holes in the story. We met at work. We started dating in September after the company retreat. We've been keeping it quiet." Maya consulted her notes. "First date was coffee. We realized we had a connection. We've been spending time together outside work since then. My mother will ask where we go, what we do together." "Museums," Maya said immediately. "You mentioned once that you used to take Emily to the Met on Sundays. I'll say we've been there together. The modern art section. It's specific enough to be believable." Daniel stared at her. "You remember that, me talking about Emily?" "I remember everything you say." Maya flushed. "Sorry, that sounds creepy. It's my job to remember details." "It's not creepy, it's..." He didn't know what it was. Touching, maybe. That someone had been paying that much attention. They spent the next hour building their story, filling in details. Maya asked questions Daniel wouldn't have thought of, what his favorite thing about her was, when he'd realized he loved her, what their song might be. "I don't know," Daniel admitted to that last one. "I haven't thought about music in years." "You listen to jazz, in the mornings, when you think no one's in the office yet. I hear it from your office sometimes." He did. Old Coltrane albums. Emily had hated jazz. "Pick something," he said. "Pick our song." Maya thought about it, then smiled slightly. "The Nearness of You, Coltrane version." "Why that one?" "Because it's about being close to someone. Really seeing them. Not needing anything fancy, just proximity." She met his eyes. Seemed appropriate. The moment stretched between them, loaded with something neither of them named. "Your mother will also ask about Lily," Maya said, breaking it. "How we are together. If I've spent time with her." "You have. The day you helped her with that school project. The solar system diorama." She made Neptune out of a baseball painted blue. Maya smiled at the memory. She's a sweet kid. She drew you today, in a picture of our family. Maya's eyes widened. She did? She likes you. She said you talk to her like a person, not a baby. Well, she is a person. Maya said it like it was obvious. Just a small one. Daniel found himself smiling. My mother might ask if you're looking to be a mother figure, how you feel about children. I like them. I don't have experience raising them, but I'd never try to replace Emily. Maya paused. I just want Lily to feel cared for, supported, safe. It was the right answer. Perfect, even. It was also, Daniel suspected, completely honest. They talked until nearly midnight, building a relationship from scratch, papering over the lie with enough detail to make it hold. By the time Maya stood to leave, they had a story that could survive Patricia Brooks' interrogation. Probably. Thank you, Daniel said, walking her to the door. For this, for all of it. It's fine. Really, Maya pulled on her coat. I should go. Early morning tomorrow. Right, and you have lunch with my mother. Lucky me. Her smile was wry. Daniel opened the door, then stopped. Maya? Earlier, when I kissed you, she went very still. Yes? I should have asked first. I'm sorry. You were in fight or flight mode, I understand. That's not an excuse. Maya looked at him for a long moment. No, but it's context, and I forgive you anyway. She left, disappearing into the Brooklyn night, and Daniel stood in his doorway wondering what he'd started. A lie that felt uncomfortably close to truth. A fake relationship that might be the most real thing he'd done in 2 years. And in 4 days, he'd have to sell it to a woman who'd made a career out of seeing through lies. Daniel locked the door and climbed the stairs, exhausted. But for the first time in months, maybe years, he was looking forward to Friday, even if it was probably going to be a disaster. Maya stood outside Les Bernardins at exactly noon, her palms sweating despite the November chill. Patricia Brooks didn't do casual lunches at diners or cafes. She did power lunches at restaurants where reservations required a month's notice, and entrees cost more than Maya's weekly grocery budget. She'd changed outfits 4 times that morning. Too casual made her look disrespectful. Too formal made her look like she was trying too hard. She'd settled on a navy dress and blazer, professional but softer than her usual office wear. Daniel had texted her at 7 a.m. You'll be fine. She's just a person. Maya had texted back, She's your mother. That makes her terrifying. His response had made her smile. Fair point. Call me after if you need to debrief. Or drink. Probably drink. Now standing on West 51st Street watching wealthy New Yorkers glide past, Maya wondered what she'd been thinking. This wasn't some romantic comedy where the assistant got the guy. This was real life where power imbalances existed and lies had consequences, and she was about to have lunch with a woman who could probably destroy her career with a single phone call. Maya Collins? A hostess appeared at the entrance. Mrs. Brooks is waiting for you. Of course she was already here. Patricia Brooks didn't arrive late. She arrived early to claim the power position. The restaurant was all elegant understatement. Cream walls, subtle lighting, tables spaced for privacy. Patricia sat at a corner table with a view of the room, positioned so she could see everyone who entered. She wore ivory Chanel and pearls that probably cost more than Maya's car. Maya. Patricia's smile didn't reach her eyes. How lovely. Sit. Maya sat, feeling like she was walking into an exam she hadn't studied for. I took the liberty of ordering wine. You do drink wine? It wasn't really a question. Yes. Thank you. A server appeared, poured something that was probably expensive enough to be illegal, then vanished. Patricia lifted her glass. To getting to know each other properly. They clinked glasses. Maya sipped. It tasted like regret and bad decisions. So, Patricia said, setting down her glass with precision, tell me about yourself. Daniel's been remarkably close-lipped about your background. Because we made it up yesterday, Maya thought. Out loud, she said, there's not much to tell. I grew up in Ohio, went to Ohio State, moved to New York 5 years ago. Ohio State, public school. Patricia's tone made it sound like a disease. What did you study? Business administration with a minor in literature. Literature? How quaint. Patricia opened her menu. And your family? What do they do? My father's a high school teacher, history. My mother manages a bookstore. Maya kept her voice steady. These were the facts of her life, nothing to be ashamed of. My brother's in medical school at Case Western. So you're the only one who didn't pursue a professional degree. The dig landed cleanly. Maya felt it in her chest but refused to flinch. I prefer practical application to theory. I'm good at what I do. Assistant work. Patricia said it like she was identifying a species of insect. Surely you have ambitions beyond scheduling meetings and answering phones. I manage complex logistics for a senior analyst at one of New York's top financial firms. I coordinate with clients across 3 continents. I analyze data, prepare presentations, and anticipate needs before they arise. Maya met Patricia's gaze. I'm very good at my job. Something flickered in Patricia's eyes. Surprise, maybe, or reassessment. Yet you're sleeping with your boss. The words hung between them like a slap. Maya's grip tightened on her wine glass. I'm dating Daniel. There's a difference. Is there? You work for him. He controls your income, your career trajectory, your references. How exactly is that not a problem? Because we're both adults who made a conscious choice to pursue a relationship outside of work. Maya forced herself to stay calm. We kept it private specifically to avoid any appearance of impropriety. We haven't told anyone at the office because we wanted to be sure it was real before we complicated our professional dynamic. How noble! Patricia's smile was ice. And I'm sure it has nothing to do with you securing your position. Dating the boss is quite the career move. The accusation hit harder than it should have because part of Maya wondered if other people would think the same thing. If everyone would assume she was using Daniel, sleeping her way to job security. Except they weren't sleeping together, weren't even really dating. This was all a performance to protect him from his mother's machinations. I don't need to date Daniel to secure my position, Maya said quietly. I'm good at what I do. I could get another job tomorrow if I wanted one. I'm with him because I care about him, because he's kind and brilliant and devoted to his daughter. Because when I'm with him, I feel seen in a way I haven't felt in years. The truth of it shocked her. Because it was true, wasn't it? Even before the kiss, before the lie, Daniel had seen her, had noticed when she was struggling, had sent flowers when her grandmother died, had trusted her with important work. Patricia studied her for a long moment. You're better at this than I expected. Better at what? Lying, or believing your own lies. I haven't decided which. Patricia leaned back as their server appeared with menus. Let's order, shall we? The Dover sole is excellent here. They ordered. Patricia chose for both of them without asking Maya's preference. And then the real interrogation began. When exactly did this relationship start? September, after the company retreat. How romantic. What happened? Maya recited the story she and Daniel had built. The late night working on the Hendrix presentation. The walk to the subway. The moment of connection. Patricia listened without expression, occasionally sipping her wine, her eyes never leaving Maya's face. And your first date? Coffee. The cafe on 5th where Daniel goes every morning. How did he ask you? The question caught Maya off guard. They hadn't rehearsed this detail. He didn't exactly. It was awkward. Maya improvised, reaching for something that felt real. He mentioned he was going for coffee before work and asked if I wanted to join him. I almost said no because I thought he meant to discuss work, but then he said, I mean as a date, if you want. No pressure. He looked terrified. Patricia's eyebrow raised a fraction. Daniel doesn't do terrified. He did that morning. I think he was afraid I'd say no and make things weird at the office. Maya allowed herself a small smile, building the fiction. I said yes. We sat in that cafe for 2 hours talking about everything except work. I learned he likes jazz, that he misses cooking but never has time, that he reads to Lily every night, the same books over and over because she loves the repetition. He told you about his daughter early on. Of course, Lily's the most important person in his life. He wouldn't date anyone who didn't understand that. Their food arrived. Patricia cut her fish with surgical precision. And Emily? Did he tell you about his late wife? The trap was obvious, but Maya had no choice but to walk into it. Yes. He told me about Emily, about how they met in college, how she made him laugh, how she died without warning and left him trying to figure out how to be a single parent while drowning in grief. How convenient for you, a widower with a child, desperate for companionship. That's not... Maya stopped, took a breath. I'm not trying to replace Emily. I could never replace her. I'm just trying to be there for Daniel as he figures out his life now. Noble words. Patricia ate a bite of fish. You've met Lily? Once, briefly. She came to the office for a school project and I helped her with it. And? What did you think? I thought she's exactly like Daniel described. Smart, creative, resilient. She's been through something no child should experience, and she's handling it with more grace than most adults could manage. Do you want children, Maya? Another trap. Say yes, and Patricia would accuse her of using Daniel for family security. Say no, and she'd be painted as unsuitable. I've never thought I'd have children, Maya said honestly. My career has always been my focus, but being around Lily, seeing how Daniel is with her, it's made me reconsider what I thought I wanted. How very adaptable of you. The sarcasm was heavy enough to be a weapon. Maya set down her fork, her appetite gone. Mrs. Brooks, what do you want me to say? That I'm a gold digger? That I trapped your son? That I'm using him? She kept her voice level. I can't prove a negative. I can't make you believe I have genuine feelings for Daniel. But I'm here, aren't I? Having lunch with you, answering your questions, trying to make this work even though you've made it very clear you don't think I'm good enough for him. Patricia went still. For the first time since they'd sat down, she looked genuinely surprised. My son, she said slowly, lost his wife 2 years ago. He's been barely functional since then, throwing himself into work and parenting and refusing every attempt we've made to help. He won't accept nannies, won't move closer to family, won't even consider dating, and then suddenly he's kissing his assistant in his office and claiming they've been together for months. She leaned forward. You'll forgive me for being skeptical. I don't need your forgiveness, Maya said quietly. I need you to trust that Daniel knows what he's doing, that he's capable of making his own choices about his life and who he spends time with. Even if those choices are mistakes? Even then, they're his mistakes to make. Silence fell between them. Patricia studied Maya like she was a puzzle with missing pieces. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed, sharp and brief but genuine. You have a spine after all. Good. You'll need it in this family. Maya didn't know if that was acceptance or a threat. They finished lunch making strained small talk about New York, the weather, neutral topics that didn't require honesty. When the check came, not that Maya ever saw it, Patricia stood with fluid grace. Friday dinner, 7 o'clock. Don't be late. Daniel knows where. She picked up her purse. And Maya? Wear something nice. We dress for dinner. Of course. Patricia paused, studying her one more time. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone easier to dismiss. Patricia's smile was enigmatic. I'll see you Friday. Then she was gone, gliding out of the restaurant like she owned it, leaving Maya sitting alone at a table worth more than her monthly rent. Maya's hands were shaking. She pulled out her phone. Survived. Barely. She hates me. Daniel's response came immediately. She hates everyone. Are you okay? Define okay. Do you need that drink? Maya looked at the time. 1:15. She had the rest of the day off. Daniel had cleared her schedule, probably anticipating she'd need recovery time. Yes. Where? The bar near my office. McGinty's. I can be there in 20 minutes. Maya hesitated. Meeting her boss at a bar in the middle of the day to debrief about lying to his mother was probably not in any employee handbook, but then again, neither was fake dating, said boss. I'll be there. She took the subway to Midtown, grateful for the anonymity of the crowd. At McGinty's, she found a booth in the back and ordered whiskey. Neat. When Daniel arrived 10 minutes later, still in his suit but with his tie loosened and his hair disheveled like he'd been running his hands through it, Maya was halfway through her drink. He slid into the booth across from her. That bad? She thinks I'm a gold digger using you for job security and trying to trap you into being a father to children I've apparently decided I want now that I've met Lily. Daniel winced. That sounds like my mother. She also said I'm better at lying than she expected and that I'm not what she anticipated, which I think was a compliment but might have been an insult. Maya drained her whiskey. I need another one of these. Daniel signaled the bartender, ordered for both of them. When the drinks arrived, he lifted his glass. To surviving Patricia Brooks. To survival, Maya agreed. They drank. Daniel set down his glass and looked at her. Really looked at her. I'm sorry, I should never have dragged you into this. My mother's a piece of work, and you didn't deserve to be ambushed over lunch. I volunteered, remember? You volunteered for a fake relationship to fool my family at one dinner. You didn't sign up for lunch interrogations and character assassinations. Actually, I think I did. Maya traced the rim of her glass. Your mother strikes me as someone who doesn't do anything halfway. If we're going to convince her this is real, we need to go all in. All in, Daniel repeated. What does that look like? I don't know. More time together? We need to seem comfortable around each other. Right now we're coworkers pretending to be a couple. We need to actually be comfortable. Daniel was quiet for a moment. My sister Ashley wants to meet you. Before Friday. She thinks if she can vet you first, she can run interference with my mother at dinner. Is she like your mother? God, no. She's caught between wanting to please our mother and knowing Mom's controlling is unhealthy. She means well. Usually. He paused. Would you be okay with that? Meeting her? When? Tomorrow? Dinner? I'd bring Lily. Make it casual. The idea of meeting Daniel's daughter in an official capacity made Maya's stomach flip. What would you tell Lily about us? The truth. That we're spending time together and seeing where it goes. Daniel met her eyes. She already knows, by the way. My mother called the house and talked to Mrs. Chen, my neighbor who watches Lily sometimes. Lily asked me about you last night. What did you say? That, yes, we're together. She drew you in a family picture. Maya's heart did something complicated. She drew me? She likes you. From that one afternoon you spent helping her with her project. She said you treat her like a person, not a baby. She is a person, Maya said, echoing what she'd told Daniel the night before. What did you tell her about us, the real story? Nothing. As far as Lily knows, this is real. I can't... Daniel stopped, struggling with something. I can't tell her it's fake and ask her to lie. She's 6. That's not fair to her. So she thinks we're actually dating. Yes? And when we break up in a few months, then we tell her it didn't work out, but we're still friends and I'm still her dad and everything's okay. Daniel looked miserable. I know it's not ideal. I know I'm probably screwing her up. Add it to the list of ways I'm failing as a parent. You're not failing, Maya said sharply. You're protecting her from your mother's interference. That's not the same thing. Isn't it? I'm lying to everyone, including my daughter, because I can't stand up to my mother like an adult. You did stand up to her, in your office, when you kissed me. Daniel laughed, bitter. Some stand. I created a bigger mess. Maya reached across the table, stopped before touching him, then decided what the hell. They were supposed to be dating. She took his hand. Your mother brought a stranger to your office and expected you to what? Marry her? Just because Patricia Brooks decided it was time? That's insane. You did what you had to do to shut it down. Now we follow through. She squeezed his hand. Tomorrow night, dinner with Ashley and Lily. We practice being a couple. Friday, we survive your family dinner, and then we figure out the rest. Daniel stared at their joined hands. His fingers curled around hers, warm and solid. I don't deserve you doing this for me. Probably not, Maya agreed. But I'm doing it anyway. They sat like that for a moment, hands linked across a sticky bar table in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon, 2 people playing roles that were starting to feel less like acting. Daniel's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and groaned. Client crisis. I have to go back to the office. Go. I should get home anyway. Maya withdrew her hand, immediately missing the contact. Text me the details for tomorrow? I will. Daniel stood, then hesitated. Maya, thank you. For lunch. For not running away screaming. For all of it. Ask me again after Friday dinner. I might be running away screaming by then. He smiled, genuine, reaching his eyes, and left. Maya sat alone in the booth, staring at her empty whiskey glass and wondering what she'd become. A woman holding hands with her boss in bars. A woman lying to his family. A woman who'd just agreed to meet his daughter and pretend to be his girlfriend. A woman who was starting to forget she was pretending at all. Her phone buzzed, a text from her best friend Jenna, who she'd been avoiding for 2 days. "Where have you been? You missed book club Sunday. Are you dead?" Maya stared at the message. She should tell Jenna the truth. Should confess the whole insane situation and get an outside perspective. Jenna was practical, honest, and would absolutely tell Maya if she was being an idiot. Instead, Maya texted back, "Not dead, busy, work stuff. Talk soon?" Because how did you explain this? How did you tell your best friend that you'd agreed to fake date your boss because his mother was controlling and you'd had one afternoon where you'd felt seen and useful and important? How did you admit that you'd been half in love with Daniel Brooks for months before he ever kissed you? Maya left the bar and walked aimlessly through Midtown, letting the November cold clear her head. She'd been Daniel's assistant for 2 years. 2 years of bringing him coffee, managing his schedule, watching him grieve quietly and parent beautifully, and exist in a kind of numb functionality that broke her heart. 2 years of being invisible while wishing he'd look at her the way he looked at Lily when she showed him her drawings, with that complete presence, that absolute attention. And then Monday, he'd kissed her, and for 5 seconds, Maya Collins had been visible. That was dangerous. That was the kind of thinking that led to real feelings in fake relationships. That led to heartbreak when the arrangement ended and she went back to being just the assistant. She needed to be smarter than this. But when she got home to her small studio apartment in Queens, when she looked at her closet trying to decide what to wear to meet a 6-year-old girl who'd drawn her in a family picture, Maya admitted the truth. She didn't want to be smarter. She wanted to be brave. And if that meant risking her heart on something that was probably going to end badly, well, at least she'd feel something real for once. Wednesday evening found Maya standing outside an Italian restaurant in Brooklyn, checking her reflection in the window for the 15th time. She'd changed 3 times before settling on jeans, a soft blue sweater, and minimal makeup. Meeting Lily felt more terrifying than lunch with Patricia. Daniel had texted an hour ago. "Lily's excited to see you. Don't be nervous." Easy for him to say. He wasn't about to lie to a child. The door opened and Ashley Brooks stepped out, sophisticated in all black blonde hair swept up. She looked nothing like Daniel, took after Patricia's side of the family. "Maya?" Ashley extended a hand. "I'm Ashley. Let's walk before we go in. Just us." Maya's stomach dropped, but she nodded. They walked half a block before Ashley spoke. "My brother's my best friend. He's also been a mess since Emily died. Functional, sure. Great at his job, great dad. But empty inside." Ashley stopped, faced her. "Monday in that conference room was the first time in 2 years I've seen him actually feel something. Anger, yes, but also agency, choice. Whatever this is between you two, real or not, it woke him up. Ashley, I don't need to know if it's real. I don't care. What I care about is that you don't hurt him or Lily. If you're in this, be all in. If you're not, get out now before Friday dinner becomes a disaster and my mother destroys you both." Maya met her gaze. "I'm in. I wouldn't have agreed to this if I wasn't." "Good." Ashley's face softened. "Because honestly, you're the first woman he's shown any interest in since Em. Even if it started as a panic move, that means something. And Lily already adores you, which is huge. She's protective of her dad." "What was Emily like?" Maya asked quietly. Ashley smiled, sad. "Bright, like sunshine in human form. She laughed at everything, made friends everywhere, could talk to anyone. Complete opposite of Daniel's brooding intensity. They balanced each other." She paused. "You're not like her." "I know. That's not a criticism. Emily was wonderful, but Daniel doesn't need another Emily. He needs someone who sees him as he is now, not who he was then, someone steady." Ashley studied her. "I think that might be you." They walked back to the restaurant. Inside, Daniel sat in a booth with a little girl who had wild dark curls and was coloring intensely on a paper menu. "Lily," Daniel said, "you remember Maya from my office?" Lily looked up and her whole face lit up. Maya, I finished my drawing for you. Daddy said you were coming. She scrambled out of the booth and hugged Maya's legs, unselfconscious and warm. Maya froze for a second, then bent down. Hi, Lily. It's good to see you again. I saved you a seat next to me. Daddy says you're his girlfriend now. Does that mean you'll come over more? Can you help me with my science project? We're doing volcanoes. Maya glanced at Daniel, who looked both amused and apologetic. We'll see. I'd like to help if I can. They slid into the booth, Lily insisting Maya sit between her and Daniel. Ashley took the other side, watching them with sharp eyes. Dinner was easier than Maya expected. Lily dominated the conversation, chattering about school and her friends and the butterfly facts she'd learned. She showed Maya her drawing, the family picture with stick figures that made Maya's chest ache. She asked Maya questions without the filter adults had. What's your favorite color? Do you like pizza? Have you ever seen a real butterfly up close? Can you read chapter books? Daniel watched his daughter with such obvious love that Maya felt like she was intruding on something sacred. But then Lily would include her. Maya, tell Daddy about the colors we used, or Maya thinks the glitter was a good choice, right, Maya? And she'd be pulled back in. Ashley watched it all, quiet and assessing. When Lily excused herself to the bathroom, Ashley leaned forward. She's attached already. You see that, right? I see it, Maya said softly. So when this ends, however it ends, she's going to be hurt. Ashley, Daniel said, warning in his voice. No, she's right. Maya turned to him. Lily's already invested. We need to be careful. We will be, Daniel promised. I'll make sure she's okay. You can't promise that, Ashley said, but you can try. Just... She looked at Maya. Be kind. That's all I ask. Whatever happens, be kind to them both. Maya nodded, throat tight. Lily returned and they ordered dessert, chocolate cake that Lily insisted Maya share with her. By the time they left the restaurant, Lily was holding Maya's hand and asking when she could see her again. Soon, Maya promised. We'll figure something out. Daniel picked up his daughter. Say goodnight to Maya, Ladybug. Good night, Maya. I love you. The words were casual, the way children loved freely and without boundaries, but they hit Maya like a physical blow. Good night, Lily. She stopped, smiled. Sweet dreams. Ashley walked them to their cars. At Maya's door, she pulled her aside one more time. My mother's going to come at you hard on Friday. She'll try to find every crack, every inconsistency. She'll be ruthless. I know. But she's also human. She loved Emily. She's terrified of Lily getting hurt or Daniel making another mistake. She's controlling because she thinks it's the same as protecting. Ashley squeezed her arm. If you can get her to see that you actually care about them, not just as a job or an obligation, you might survive. And if I can't, then it's going to be a very long dinner. Ashley smiled grimly. Good luck, Maya Collins. I think you're going to need it. Maya drove home through Brooklyn's streets, her hand still warm from where Lily had held it. When she got to her apartment, she found a text from Daniel. Thank you for tonight. Lily hasn't smiled that much in months. You were perfect. Not perfect, Maya thought. Just present. Just trying. She texted back, Lily's wonderful. You're doing an amazing job with her. Most days I'm just winging it and hoping I don't screw her up too badly. That's called parenting. You're doing fine. A pause. Then, 2 more days until the dinner. Are you ready? Maya looked at her closet, at the dress she'd bought that afternoon. Dark green, elegant, but not trying too hard. She thought about Patricia's ice-cold assessment, Ashley's warnings, Lily's easy, I love you. No. But I'm doing it anyway. That's the spirit. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be long. Maya tried, but sleep was elusive, her mind replaying dinner, Lily's hand in hers, Daniel's eyes across the table, the weight of the lie they were building, brick by brick, until it resembled something uncomfortably close to truth. Thursday at the office was surreal. Maya managed Daniel's calendar, brought him coffee, handled client calls, all the normal rhythms of their work relationship. But now there were texts on her personal phone, shared glances that lasted too long, moments where his hand would brush hers, passing documents, and they'd both freeze. This is weird. Daniel said during a rare moment when his office door was closed and they were alone. Right? It's not just me? It's definitely weird, Maya confirmed. We're pretending to date while actually working together, and nobody here knows about the pretending part except us. Should we tell people at work? Make it official? And have HR involved? No. Maya shook her head. We keep it quiet here. After the family dinner, if people ask, we can say we're seeing each other. But I don't want this to become office gossip. Agreed. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. This is a disaster waiting to happen. Probably. But we're committed now. Are we? He looked at her seriously. Maya, if you want out, tell me. I won't be upset. This was my mess and I dragged you into it. She should say yes. Should take the exit he was offering. Should be smart. I'm not backing out, Maya said. One more day. We can do this. That evening, Maya went to Jenna's apartment in Manhattan, unable to avoid her best friend any longer. Jenna opened the door with wine already poured and suspicion in her eyes. Okay, spill. What's going on? You missed book club, you've been dodging my calls, and you texted me work stuff, which is code for something is very wrong. Maya took the wine, sat on Jenna's couch, and told her everything. The conference room kiss, the lie to Patricia, the fake relationship, lunch with his mother, meeting Lily, all of it. Jenna listened in stunned silence, her own wine forgotten. Maya, she said finally, you're in love with him. What? No, I'm helping him. You're helping him by fake dating him and meeting his daughter and having lunch with his terrifying mother. That's not helping. That's... Jenna leaned forward. Sweetie, you've talked about this man for 2 years. How smart he is. How good with his daughter. How he remembered your grandmother died. You light up when you mention him, and now you're playing house and pretending it doesn't mean anything? It doesn't. You held his daughter's hand. She told you she loves you. You're having family dinners, and tomorrow you're going to meet his entire family and lie through your teeth about being his girlfriend. Jenna's eyes were kind. What happens when this ends? When he doesn't need the fake relationship anymore? Maya's hands tightened on her wine glass. Then we end it and move on. Can you? Can you really go back to being just his assistant after this? The question hung in the air, unanswerable. I don't know, Maya admitted quietly. But I'm in it now. I can't back out before tomorrow. And after tomorrow? I don't know that either. Jenna sighed, pulling Maya into a hug. Just be careful, please. I don't want to see you destroyed when he goes back to his real life and you're still in love with him. I'm not in love with him, Maya protested, but the words felt hollow. She went home late, Jenna's warning echoing in her head. Was she in love with Daniel? Or was she just lonely and starved for attention and confusing proximity with feelings? Her phone buzzed. Daniel. Lily asked if you could come to her dance recital next month. I told her I'd check with you. No pressure. Next month. A month from now, they'd probably be broken up, the fake relationship over. But Lily would still expect Maya at her recital. Maya stared at the text, at the impossible situation she'd created. Then she typed, Of course. I'd love to be there, because she was already in too deep to do anything else. Friday arrived with gray November skies that threatened rain. Maya called in sick to work. They'd agreed it would look better if she wasn't at the office all day before a family dinner. She spent the morning alternating between pacing her apartment and lying on her couch staring at the ceiling. At 2 p.m., her doorbell rang. She opened it to find Ashley holding a garment bag and a makeup case. What are you doing here? Helping. Ashley pushed past her into the apartment. My mother's going to judge everything about you, what you wear, how you present yourself, whether you look like you belong. So I'm making sure you're armored up. I have a dress. Let me see it. Maya pulled out the green dress. Ashley examined it critically. It's nice, but nice isn't going to cut it tonight. You need to look like you're not trying too hard, but also like you belong at a Brooks family dinner. It's a delicate balance. She unzipped the garment bag, revealing a midnight blue dress. Elegant, expensive, perfect. I can't wear that, Maya protested. That's probably worth more than my monthly car payment. Yes. Wear it anyway. Consider it armor. Ashley started unpacking makeup. Now sit. We have 3 hours, and I'm going to make you look like you were born for this. 3 hours later, Maya barely recognized herself in the mirror. Ashley had worked some kind of magic with makeup that made her look polished without looking painted, had swept her hair into a low twist that was elegant but not severe, and the midnight blue dress fit like it had been made for her. She looked like someone who belonged at a Brooks family dinner. She looked like someone Daniel Brooks might actually date. "You're good at this," Maya said, watching Ashley pack up her makeup case. "Years of practice. My mother's been grooming me for high society since I could walk." Ashley met her eyes in the mirror. "The trick is to look like you're not trying, like this is just who you are naturally. Effortless perfection." "That sounds exhausting." "It is." Ashley's smile was tired. "But it's survival in my mother's world. You look amazing, by the way. Daniel's going to forget how to breathe when he sees you." Maya's stomach fluttered. "It's just a performance." "Sure it is." As Ashley checked her watch. "Car service will be here in 45 minutes. I'm riding with you. Moral support. Plus, if we arrive together, it'll throw my mother off balance. She won't expect me to have taken your side." "Have you? Taken my side?" Ashley sat on Maya's bed, suddenly looking less like a society princess and more like a tired woman in her early 30s. "I'm taking Daniel's side and Lily's. If you're good for them, then yes, I'm on your side. If you're not—" She trailed off, the threat implicit. "I won't hurt them," Maya said quietly. "Whatever happens, I won't hurt them on purpose." On purpose is the key phrase there. You can hurt people without meaning to. Ashley stood, smoothing her dress. "But I think you know that already." The car arrived exactly on time. Black, expensive, silent. Maya's hand shook as she got in. Ashley noticed but didn't comment, just handed her a flask from her purse. "Liquid courage. You'll need it." Maya took a sip. Bourbon, smooth and burning. She took another. The Brooks family estate was in Westchester, a 40-minute drive from Maya's Queens apartment. They might as well have been traveling to another planet. As the car wound through increasingly manicured streets, past gates and hedges that screamed old money, Maya felt her confidence drain away despite the expensive dress and professional makeup. "I can't do this," she said suddenly. "Ashley, I can't. Your mother's going to see right through me. She's going to know I don't belong here." "Stop." Ashley's voice was sharp. "You belong anywhere you decide you belong. My mother's power is all smoke and mirrors. She makes people feel small because when they feel small, they're easier to control. Don't let her make you small." "Easy for you to say. You grew up in this world. And I've spent 32 years trying to escape it." Ashley looked out the window at the passing estates. "You know what's funny? You're probably the first genuine person Daniel's brought home in years. Everyone else was vetted, approved, from the right families with the right connections. You're real. That terrifies my mother because she can't control real." The car turned onto a long driveway lined with trees that were probably older than Maya's entire family history. At the end sat a house that was less a house and more a statement, 3 stories of stone and glass that spoke of generations of wealth and power. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. Daniel was waiting at the front entrance, and Ashley had been right. When he saw Maya, something flickered across his face. Surprise, appreciation, something deeper that made her breath catch. He was in a suit, perfectly tailored, his dark hair actually styled for once. He looked like he belonged here, like old money and power were his birthright. He looked nothing like the tired single dad who read the same bedtime stories every night. "Maya," his voice was rough. "You look, wow." Ashley helped. Maya felt her cheeks warm. "Is that okay? The dress?" "It's perfect. You're perfect." He seemed to catch himself. "I mean, you look perfect for this, for tonight." Ashley smirked. "Smooth, Danny, real smooth. I'm going inside to run interference. You two have exactly 2 minutes to get your act together before we go in." She disappeared into the house, leaving them alone on the stone steps. "I'm terrified," Maya admitted. "Me too." Daniel took her hand, the first time he touched her since that kiss in the conference room. His fingers laced through hers, warm and solid. "We don't have to do this. We can leave right now." I'll tell my mother the truth and deal with the fallout. And have her win? No. Maya squeezed his hand. We're here. We're committed. Let's finish this. Together? Together. They walked into the house hand in hand, and Maya felt like Alice stepping through the looking glass. The foyer alone was bigger than her entire apartment. Marble floors, a crystal chandelier that probably cost more than a car, art on the walls that might have been original Impressionist paintings. She was afraid to touch anything. Voices drifted from a room to the left. Daniel's hand tightened on hers. That's the drawing room. Everyone will be there. My mother, Ashley, a few uncles and aunts, probably some family friends. She likes an audience. Of course she does. Maya took a breath, channeling every ounce of confidence she didn't feel. Okay, let's do this. They entered the drawing room and conversation stopped. 8 people turned to look at them. Patricia in cream silk, Ashley with a champagne flute, several older people who had to be relatives, and in the corner, perfectly coiffed and smiling like a shark, was Rachel Whitmore. Maya's steps faltered. Rachel. The woman from the conference room, the one Patricia had brought to set up with Daniel. Daniel's hand became a vice around hers. What is she doing here? Patricia stood, graceful as a cat. Rachel is an old family friend. I invited her to join us. I hope that's not a problem. It was absolutely a problem. It was a power play. Patricia had brought the woman she'd wanted Daniel to date, the woman they'd publicly rejected, to their first official family dinner. She was making sure the evening would be maximum awkward. Of course not, Daniel said, his voice controlled. Rachel, nice to see you again. Rachel's smile was poisonous honey. Daniel and Maya, right? The assistant? There it was, the opening shot. Not girlfriend, not partner, assistant. That's right, Maya said, keeping her voice level. Nice to see you again, Rachel. Patricia gestured to a server who appeared with champagne. Come, sit. We're just having drinks before dinner. Maya, tell everyone about yourself. We're all dying to know about the woman who captured Daniel's heart so suddenly. The way she said suddenly made it sound like a crime. They sat. Daniel positioned them on a sofa together, his arm around her shoulders in what probably looked casual but felt protective. Maya sipped champagne she didn't taste and smiled at strangers who looked at her like she was a specimen under glass. An older man who introduced himself as Uncle Richard asked about her family. An aunt, whose name Maya immediately forgot, asked where she went to school. Ashley tried to redirect when questions got too pointed, but Patricia kept steering the conversation back to Maya's background, her education, her ambitions. So you're happy being an assistant? Patricia asked, sweetly venomous. No desire for advancement, partnership, something more substantial? I'm happy doing work I'm good at with people I respect, Maya said. Not everyone measures success by titles. How progressive, Patricia smiled. And your family must be so proud. Your father teaches high school, doesn't he? And your mother manages a bookstore? The way she said it made both sound like embarrassments. They're very proud, Maya said. They taught me to value honesty and hard work over appearance and status. Daniel's arm tightened around her shoulders. Ashley coughed into her champagne. Rachel watched with undisguised interest. Patricia's eyes narrowed a fraction. How lovely. Daniel, your daughter isn't joining us this evening. Lily's at a sleepover, Daniel said. Mrs. Chen's granddaughter's birthday party. Pity. I would have liked to see how she and Maya interact. Children can be such good judges of character. Lily adores Maya, Ashley interjected. They had dinner earlier this week. Lily talked about it for hours. Did she? Patricia turned to Maya. And what do you think of Lily? Honestly? It was a trap. Too effusive, and she'd seem fake. Too reserved, and she'd seem cold. I think she's remarkable, Maya said carefully. She's been through something no child should experience, and she's handling it with incredible strength. She's creative, curious, kind. Daniel's doing an amazing job raising her. Yes, well, Daniel's always been devoted. Patricia sipped her champagne. Emily would be pleased to see him finally moving on. She'd want Lily to have a mother figure. The mention of Emily hung in the air like a ghost. Daniel went rigid beside Maya. Lily has a mother, he said quietly. Emily will always be her mother. Anyone else in her life would be a different role. Of course, dear. I didn't mean to suggest otherwise. Patricia's smile didn't reach her eyes. Rachel, you were saying something about the charity gala next month? And just like that, the conversation shifted. Rachel launched into a story about some society event, name-dropping people Maya had never heard of, making it clear she moved in circles where Maya would never belong. Maya sat through it, Daniel's arm around her, feeling like an imposter. These people spoke a different language, not just their words, but their entire way of being. The casual mentions of vacation homes and private schools and family foundations. The assumption that everyone knew the same people, attended the same events, lived in the same rarefied world. Dinner was announced. They moved to a dining room that could have seated 20, with a table set with china so delicate Maya was afraid to touch it. Patricia sat at the head naturally. She placed Daniel to her right, which meant Maya sat beside him. Ashley was across from them, and Rachel, somehow, was positioned next to Daniel on his other side. More power plays, more orchestration. The meal was exquisite and endless, course after course, each paired with different wines served by silent staff who appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Maya barely tasted any of it. She was too busy monitoring her posture, her silverware choices, making sure she didn't commit some social faux pas that would confirm she didn't belong. Rachel monopolized Daniel's attention, asking about work, mutual acquaintances, memories from some summer they'd apparently both spent in the Hamptons as teenagers. She laughed at his polite responses, touched his arm, acted like Maya wasn't even there, and Patricia watched it all with satisfied eyes. "So Maya," Uncle Richard said during a lull, "what do you do for fun? Besides work, of course." "I read mostly. Go to museums sometimes." "Which museums?" Patricia asked. "The Met?" Here was the test. Maya remembered the story she'd told Daniel, that they'd been to the Met together, the modern art section. "The Met, yes. Daniel and I went to the modern art wing a few weeks ago. We spent hours looking at the Pollocks." "How romantic," Rachel said. "Daniel, I didn't know you liked modern art. You always said it looked like chaos to you." Daniel's jaw clenched. "People change. I've learned to appreciate it." "Through Maya's influence, I'm sure." Rachel's smile was sharp. "It's amazing how quickly people can change when properly motivated." The implication was clear. Maya was changing Daniel, molding him, influencing him away from his true self. "I haven't changed Daniel," Maya said quietly. "I've just given him space to be himself without judgment or expectation." "How very therapeutic of you," Patricia said. "Tell me, Maya, do you plan to continue working once you and Daniel become more serious? Or would you prefer to focus on other pursuits? Charity work, perhaps. Many women in our circle find it fulfilling." The question was layered with assumption. That Maya would quit working, that she'd become a society wife, that her career was disposable. "I love my job," Maya said. "I'm not interested in giving it up." "Oh, even with the complication of dating your employer? The appearance of impropriety?" "There's no impropriety. We're both adults who happen to work together and also care about each other." "How modern," Patricia said. Emily never worked after she married Daniel. She felt her place was supporting him and raising their daughter. The comparison was a blade perfectly aimed. "You're not Emily. You'll never be Emily." Emily knew her place. Maya felt Daniel tense beside her, felt his anger building. Before he could explode, she put her hand on his knee under the table, a silent message. "Let me handle this." "I'm sure Emily was wonderful at supporting Daniel in the way he needed then," Maya said. "But Daniel doesn't need the same things now. He needs a partner who understands his work, who can hold her own, who doesn't need to be taken care of. He needs an equal, not a project." Silence fell over the table. Patricia's expression froze. Rachel laughed, brittle and sharp. "My goodness, you certainly have strong opinions for someone who's been in the family for all of 5 minutes." "I'm not in the family," Maya said. "I'm dating Daniel, that's all. I'm not trying to replace Emily or become some version of what you all think Daniel needs. I'm just trying to be there for him as he figures out his life." "Noble words," Patricia said coldly. "But relationships aren't built on what we say. They're built on what we do. On commitment, sacrifice, understanding one's place in the greater structure of a family." "Is that what you told Emily?" Daniel's voice cut through the room like a knife. That she needed to understand her place? That she had to sacrifice what she wanted for the greater family structure? Patricia's eyes flashed. Don't you dare bring Emily into this. You brought her into it. You've been bringing her into every conversation, using her memory as a weapon against Maya. It's not fair and it's not okay. Daniel stood, pulling Maya up with him. Emily was my wife and I loved her, but she's gone, and I'm allowed to move on. I'm allowed to choose someone who makes me happy, even if that person isn't who you would have chosen for me. And this makes you happy? Patricia gestured at Maya. This girl who's worked for you for 2 years and suddenly became your girlfriend the moment I tried to introduce you to an appropriate match? You expect me to believe that's genuine? What I expect, Daniel said, voice shaking with controlled fury, is for you to respect my choices, to trust that I know what's best for me and for my daughter, to stop trying to control every aspect of my life like I'm still a child who needs managing. I'm trying to protect you. From what? From being happy? From choosing my own path? Daniel's hand found Maya's, gripped tight. You brought Rachel to my office to ambush me. You invited her here tonight to humiliate Maya. You've questioned her background, her job, her intentions. You've compared her to Emily like that's somehow fair. None of that is protection, Mom. That's control. That's manipulation. Patricia stood, her composure cracking. I am trying to make sure you don't make a mistake that affects my granddaughter. Lily needs stability. She needs a proper family, not some rushed relationship with an employee who what? Maya heard herself say. Who isn't rich enough, well-connected enough? Who comes from public school instead of private? Who works for a living instead of living off family money? She was shaking, but she couldn't stop. I'm not good enough for your son because I didn't grow up in this world, because I don't know which fork to use or how to make small talk at charity galas. That's what you're really saying, isn't it? Maya, Daniel started, but she pulled her hand away. No, I need to say this. She turned to Patricia, all her fear burned away by anger. You want to know if I'm genuine? Fine. Yes, I care about Daniel. I've cared about him for longer than you know. He's brilliant and kind and devoted to his daughter in a way that makes my heart ache. He's been grieving for 2 years, and no one seemed to notice because he's functional, he still does his job, he still shows up. But I noticed. I saw him. I saw the man who reads the same bedtime stories every night because they comfort Lily. Who keeps Emily's picture on his desk because forgetting hurts more than remembering. Who's so afraid of failing his daughter that he works himself into the ground trying to be enough? Tears were streaming down Maya's face now, but she couldn't stop. You asked if this is genuine. It's the most genuine thing in my life. Not because I'm trying to trap him or use him or whatever you think, but because for the first time in my life, someone sees me. Really sees me. Not the assistant, not the invisible girl in the corner, but me. And yes, maybe the timing is suspicious. Maybe it started weird. But I don't care about your approval or your acceptance or whether I fit in this world. I care about him. I care about Lily. And I'm not going to apologize for that or pretend to be something I'm not just to make you comfortable. The silence was deafening. Ashley stared at her with wide eyes. Rachel looked like she'd swallowed glass. Uncle Richard studied his wine glass with intense interest. Patricia's face was unreadable. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. Cold and sharp, but genuine. Well, at least you have a spine after all. I was beginning to think you were just a doormat. She sat back down, gesturing for everyone else to do the same. Sit, both of you. Let's finish this dinner like civilized people and stop throwing dishes. Maya realized she was gripping the edge of the table like she might throw it. Daniel's hand found hers again, pulled her gently back to her seat. That was quite a speech, Patricia continued, dabbing her mouth with her napkin. Very passionate, almost convincing. It was convincing because it was true, Daniel said. Perhaps. Patricia looked at Maya directly for the first time all evening. You say you see my son. Tell me what you see. It felt like another test, but Maya was done with tests. I see someone who's doing his best in an impossible situation, who lost the love of his life and had to figure out how to be a single parent while grieving. Who shows up every day for his daughter, even when he's exhausted, who's kind to people who work for him, who notices small things, who carries so much weight on his shoulders that sometimes I'm amazed he can stand upright. Maya's voice softened. I see someone who deserves to be happy again, even if that happiness doesn't look like what you'd choose for him. Patricia was quiet for a long moment. Then she turned to Daniel. Is this what you want, truly? Daniel looked at Maya, and in his eyes she saw something that made her breath catch. Something that looked uncomfortably like the truth she'd just confessed. Yes, he said quietly. This is what I want. Then I suppose I'll have to accept it. Patricia sipped her wine. Though I maintain my reservations about the appropriateness of dating an employee. Noted, Daniel said dryly. The rest of dinner passed in strange détente. Rachel excused herself early, citing a headache that no one believed. Patricia asked Maya questions that were almost civil, where she grew up, what she studied, neutral topics that didn't feel like attacks. Ashley kept shooting Maya looks that ranged from impressed to concerned. By the time coffee was served, Maya was exhausted down to her bones. The adrenaline that had fueled her outburst had drained away, leaving her hollow and shaking. I need some air, she murmured to Daniel. I'll come with you. They excused themselves and stepped onto a terrace overlooking manicured gardens lit by landscape lights. The November air was cold enough to sting, but Maya welcomed it. She felt like she'd been holding her breath for hours. That was intense, Daniel said finally. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have lost it like that. I probably made everything worse. Are you kidding? That was amazing. He turned to face her. Maya, you stood up to my mother. You told her the truth. No one does that. I told her a lot of truth mixed with lies, Maya said quietly. The line's getting blurry, Daniel. I'm not sure I know which parts are real anymore. He stepped closer. Which parts felt real to you? Maya looked up at him, at this man she'd been pretending to date for less than a week, and felt her carefully constructed walls crumbling. All of it, she whispered. That's the problem. All of it feels real. Daniel's hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing away a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. What if it doesn't have to be pretend? His voice was rough. What if we stopped lying and made this real? Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. Daniel, I know this started as a panic move. I know I dragged you into this to solve a problem, but somewhere between Monday and tonight, something changed. Or maybe it was always there and I was too blind to see it. His forehead rested against hers. You stood in my mother's dining room and defended me. Defended us. You see me, Maya. You've always seen me. And I've been so caught up in surviving that I didn't see you back. But I do now. You're grieving, Maya said, even as her heart cracked open. You're lonely and stressed, and I'm convenient, and you're not convenient. You're terrifying. You make me feel things I haven't felt in 2 years. You make me want things I thought I'd buried with Emily. His hands framed her face. I'm not asking you to replace her. I'm asking you to be with me. Really be with me. Not fake, not temporary. Real. Maya should say no. Should tell him this was too fast, too complicated, too tangled up in lies and grief and workplace dynamics. Should be the smart one. Instead, she said, I've been half in love with you since you sent flowers when my grandmother died. Since you noticed I was struggling and made things easier without making me feel weak. Since I watched you with Lily and saw what devotion looked like. Tears spilled over. I'm already in too deep, Daniel. I have been for months. So if you're asking if I want this to be real, the answer is yes, but I'm terrified. Me too, he said. Terrified that I'll mess this up, that I'm not ready, that I'm using you to feel less lonely. But when I'm with you, I don't feel lonely. I feel like maybe I could be okay again. Like maybe there's a future that isn't just surviving. They stood on the terrace, wrapped around each other, and Maya felt the shift between them. The moment when pretending stopped and something real began. It was terrifying and exhilarating and completely insane. Your mother's going to know, Maya said. She's going to know something changed. Let her know. I'm done lying to her. Daniel pulled back enough to meet her eyes. No more fake relationship. If we're doing this, we're doing it for real. Which means we need to actually date. Actually figure out if this works outside of crisis mode and family dinners. That's reasonable, Maya said. But first, Daniel leaned down and kissed her. Not the desperate kiss from the conference room, but something slower, deeper, loaded with intention. Maya's hands fisted in his jacket, pulling him closer, and for a moment the world narrowed to just this. His mouth on hers, his hands in her hair, the taste of coffee, and something that was just him. When they broke apart, Both breathless, Daniel rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that again since Monday. Just since Monday? Maya smiled against his mouth. Okay, maybe longer. Maybe since you stayed late to help me with the Hendrix presentation, and I realized you were brilliant, and I'd been taking you for granted. September. That's when the fake relationship started. Nothing about how I felt that night was fake. I just didn't let myself think about it. He kissed her again, soft and sweet. I'm thinking about it now. A throat cleared behind them. Ashley stood in the doorway, her expression knowing. Mom's asking for you, both of you. I think she wants to have words. Ashley's smile was sly. But judging by what I just witnessed, I'm guessing the fake relationship just became real? How long have you been standing there, Sham? Daniel asked. Long enough. Congratulations, you two. Try to look less freshly kissed when you face the dragon. She disappeared back inside. Maya tried to fix her hair, her makeup, evidence of kissing. Daniel caught her hands. Leave it. I don't care if she knows. Easy for you to say. I'm the one she'll destroy. She won't destroy you, not after that speech you gave. I think you actually impressed her. They went back inside to find Patricia in the drawing room, alone, a brandy in her hand. She gestured for them to sit. The others have gone. I wanted to speak with you both privately. She studied them with sharp eyes. You're actually together now, aren't you? Not the performance from earlier, but genuinely together. There was no point lying. Yes, Daniel said. Interesting. What changed between entering this house and now? Maya and Daniel exchanged a glance. Maya took a breath. I stopped pretending I didn't have feelings for him. He stopped pretending he didn't have feelings for me. We stopped lying about what this was. And what is it? Complicated, Daniel said. New, uncertain, but real. Patricia nodded slowly. I don't approve of you dating an employee. It's messy and inappropriate and opens you both to criticism. I know, Daniel said. However, Patricia swirled her brandy. I also recognize that I have been controlling. Your father used to tell me that my need to orchestrate everything would push our children away. I told him he was being dramatic. But watching you tonight, seeing how you defended each other, how you stood up to me, she paused. Perhaps he was right. Perhaps I have been pushing too hard. It was the closest thing to an apology they were going to get. Lily is my priority, Daniel said firmly. If this relationship affects her negatively, it ends. No question. But I think Maya's good for her. Good for both of us. Time will tell. Patricia set down her glass and stood. I expect to see more of you, Maya. Family dinners, holidays. If you're going to be part of Daniel's life, you'll be part of this family. Fair warning, we're difficult at the best of times. I noticed, Maya said dryly, earning a ghost of a smile from Patricia. You have spine. That's good. You'll need it. Patricia moved toward the door, then paused. Emily was sunshine, bright and warm and impossible not to love. You're not her, Maya. Don't try to be. Daniel doesn't need another Emily. He needs someone who can hold their own in his life as it is now. Tonight, you proved you might be that person. Then she was gone, leaving them alone in the drawing room. Did your mother just give us her blessing? Maya asked, stunned. I think she did, in her own terrifying way. Daniel pulled Maya close. Ready to go home. Home. The word resonated strangely. Maya had a home, her studio apartment in Queens, but standing there in Daniel's arms, she felt something shift, a possibility of home that was bigger than just her. They said goodbye to Ashley, who hugged Maya and whispered, Welcome to the family. Sorry about the insanity. The drive back to the city was quiet, both of them processing everything that had happened. When the car pulled up to Maya's building, Daniel walked her to her door. So, he said, we're really doing this, actually dating. Apparently, Maya leaned against her door. What does that look like? We work together. We see each other constantly. We figure it out, slowly, no pressure. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. I want to take you on an actual date, not a family dinner or a crisis, just us. I'd like that. Tomorrow. If you're not sick of me after tonight. Maya thought about Jenna's warning, about all the reasons this was a bad idea. Then she thought about how Daniel looked at her like she mattered, how Lily had said "I love you" with such easy trust, how standing up to Patricia had felt like claiming something for herself. "Tomorrow," she agreed. Daniel kissed her goodnight, gentle and full of promise, and Maya floated into her apartment feeling like she'd survived a war and somehow come out victorious. Her phone buzzed. "Jenna, how did it go?" Maya typed and deleted 3 responses before settling on, "It's real now." The fake relationship became real. Jenna's response was immediate. "Oh, honey, are you okay?" Maya looked at herself in the mirror, still in Ashley's borrowed dress, makeup smudged from kissing, eyes bright with something that might be happiness or might be terror. "I have no idea, but I'm in it now. Call me tomorrow. I want details." Maya promised she would and got ready for bed, her mind replaying the evening. Patricia's tests, Rachel's barbs, her own outburst, Daniel's confession on the terrace, the way he'd kissed her like he meant it. She fell asleep thinking about tomorrow's real date, about what came next, about the terrifying, exhilarating freefall of choosing to be with someone who'd started as a lie and become the most honest thing in her life. Maya woke Saturday morning to sunlight streaming through her window and 3 missed calls from Jenna. She called back while making coffee, still in the oversized t-shirt she'd collapsed into after finally getting out of Ashley's dress at 2 a.m. "You better start talking," Jenna said by way of greeting. "Real? It's real now? What does that even mean?" Maya told her everything: the dinner, Patricia's tests, Rachel's presence, the outburst, the terrace conversation, the kiss that had changed everything. "So let me get this straight," Jenna said when she finished. "You went to this dinner planning to fake it through, ended up confessing real feelings in front of his entire family, then made out with him on the terrace, and decided to actually date him for real? When you say it like that, it sounds insane." "That's because it is insane, Maya. A week ago, he was just your boss. Now you're dating him, meeting his family, playing stepmom to his daughter. That's not a progression, that's a cliff jump." Maya sipped her coffee, watching the Saturday morning foot traffic on her street. Normal people doing normal things, not fake dating their bosses, then making it real after a disastrous family dinner. "I know it's fast, I know it's messy, but Jenna, when he kissed me last night, it didn't feel fast. It felt like something that had been building for months and we'd both been too scared to admit it." "Or you're both lonely and stressed and confusing proximity with feelings." "Maybe. Probably." Maya set down her mug. "But I'm going to find out. He's taking me on an actual date tonight. Just us. No family, no pressure, no crisis. If it's real, it'll still feel real outside of all the chaos. If it's not..." She trailed off, not wanting to finish the thought. "And if it's not?" Jenna pressed. "What happens to your job, your life? You can't just go back to being his assistant after this." "I know. Maya, I love you, but you need to think this through. Really think it through. What happens Monday when you go back to work? How do you navigate being his girlfriend and his employee? What happens if it ends badly? You could lose everything: your job, your income, your stability." Everything Jenna said was true. Maya had spent most of the night thinking the same things, but she'd also spent the night remembering how Daniel looked at her, how Lily had drawn her into that family picture, how standing up to Patricia had felt like claiming something for herself. "I'm thinking it through," Maya said quietly. "I'm scared out of my mind. But I'm also tired of being careful, tired of being invisible. For once in my life, I want to be brave enough to choose something that might not work out." Jenna sighed. "Okay, but I'm reserving the right to say I told you so if this implodes. Deal. Now, help me figure out what to wear tonight." He said casual, but I don't know if that means casual casual, or New York casual, or Brooks family casual. They spent an hour discussing outfits while Maya tried on everything in her closet. Eventually, she settled on dark jeans, a soft gray sweater, and her good boots. Casual but put together, not trying too hard. Daniel texted at noon. "Pick you up at 7? And fair warning, Lily wants to know if you're my girlfriend now, or just my friend girlfriend. 6-year-old distinctions are important, apparently." Maya smiled at her phone. "What did you tell her?" That you're my girlfriend, and she should start thinking about what to wear to our wedding. Daniel: kidding. Mostly. I told her we're dating and figuring things out, and she should ask you yourself if she wants details. She's making you a card. Maya's heart squeezed. She's making me a card? With glitter. So much glitter. I'll never get it out of the carpet. See you at 7. The afternoon crawled. Maya cleaned her already clean apartment, called her mother, who asked too many questions about work, avoided thinking about Monday and what dating Daniel would mean for her job. At 6, she started getting ready, taking more care with her makeup than usual, changing her sweater twice before going back to the original choice. At exactly 7, her buzzer rang. She grabbed her coat and headed downstairs to find Daniel leaning against his car. Not the sleek sedan she'd expected, but a practical SUV with a car seat in the back. He wore jeans and a dark blue Henley, casual in a way she'd never seen him at work. He looked younger, less weighted. He looked at her and smiled. Hi. Hi yourself. Maya felt suddenly shy, aware this was their first real date, that everything had shifted and she didn't quite know how to navigate it. Daniel seemed to feel it too. He opened the car door for her, old-fashioned but sweet, and they drove into Manhattan making careful small talk about traffic and weather and nothing important. Where are we going? Maya asked finally. You'll see. It's a surprise, but I promise no family, no pressure, no one testing whether we're real. He glanced at her. Just us. Is that okay? That's perfect. He took her to a small jazz club in the village, the kind of place tourists never found. Low lights, intimate tables, a quartet playing Coltrane in the corner. He'd made a reservation, a table tucked in the back where they could actually hear each other talk over the music. How did you find this place? Maya asked as they settled in. I used to come here before Emily. Before everything. When I needed to think. He ordered them both bourbon without asking, which should have been presumptuous but somehow wasn't. I haven't been back in years. Thought maybe it was time. The music washed over them, familiar melodies Maya recognized from mornings at the office when Daniel thought no one was listening. She watched him relax incrementally, the tension that seemed permanently lodged in his shoulders easing as the first set played. Your mother called me this morning, Maya said during a break between songs. Daniel's eyes widened. My mother? What did she say? She wanted to apologize, in her way, said she was harsh last night, and while she still has reservations about us, she respects that we stood up to her. Maya took a sip of bourbon. Then she invited me to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is 3 weeks away. I'm aware. That's fast, even for my mother. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. You don't have to go. We can tell her you have plans with your family. Actually, my family's in Ohio, and I usually spend Thanksgiving alone or with Jenna. So unless you don't want me there, I want you there, Daniel said quickly. I just don't want you to feel obligated. Family holidays are intense. More intense than last night? Fair point. He reached across the table, took her hand. The gesture felt natural now, earned. How are you? Actually, yesterday was a lot. Maya thought about it, trying to be honest. I'm terrified. I'm excited. I feel like I jumped off a cliff and I'm still falling, but maybe that's okay because you jumped too. That's very poetic for someone who's terrified. I read a lot of romance novels, remember? I know the metaphors. She smiled. How are you? You just told your controlling mother that you're dating your assistant and introduced your daughter to the concept of you moving on from her mother. That's not nothing. Daniel was quiet for a moment, thumb tracing circles on her palm. Lily asked me this morning if Emily would be mad that I have a girlfriend. She's never asked me anything like that before. Usually she doesn't talk about Emily at all. What did you say? I told her that Emily loved us both and would want us to be happy. That loving someone new doesn't mean forgetting someone we lost. That our hearts can hold more than one person. His voice roughened. Then she asked if that means she can love you and Emily at the same time. And I said yes. Maya's eyes burned. Daniel? She asked if you're going to be her new mom. I told her that's not how it works, that Emily will always be her mom, but that you could be someone special in her life, someone who cares about her. She said, okay, and went back to making your card. He met Maya's eyes. I need you to know what you're walking into. Lily's been through therapy, she's doing well, but she's also 6 and she processes things differently than adults. If we do this, if we're really together, she's going to get attached, more than she already is. And if things don't work out, she'll be hurt, Maya finished. I know. I've been thinking about it. And I'm still here. I'm still choosing this. But Daniel, we need to be smart. We need to be honest with each other about what's working and what's not. We can't stay together just because we're worried about hurting Lily. That's not fair to anyone. Agreed. He squeezed her hand. So we're doing this. For real. With all the complications and risks and potential for disaster. Apparently we are. Maya felt a bubble of something like joy rising in her chest. We're completely insane, you know that? I'm starting to suspect. Daniel signaled the waiter, ordered them dinner, small plates they could share, nothing too formal. When the food arrived, they ate and talked, the conversation flowing easier now. He told her about Lily's latest obsession with volcanoes, how she wanted to be a scientist when she grew up, how she'd declared that Maya should help with her science fair project, because Maya's smart and Daddy's good at numbers but not experiments. Maya told him about growing up in Ohio, about her quiet childhood that was nothing like his privileged upbringing, about moving to New York with dreams of making it big and ending up as someone's assistant instead. You say that like it's a failure, Daniel said, being an assistant. Isn't it? I have a degree. I'm smart. I could have done more. You do more. You run my entire professional life. You manage complex logistics across 3 continents. You anticipate problems before they happen. That's not just being an assistant. That's being essential. He leaned forward. I wouldn't survive a week without you. The firm wouldn't. You know that, right? Maya felt heat rise in her cheeks. You'd manage. I really wouldn't, and that's actually something we need to talk about. Daniel's expression turned serious. The job. Us dating changes things. We need to figure out boundaries. I don't want you to ever feel like you can't say no to me professionally because we're together personally. I've never felt that way. But you might, if I ask you to stay late, to take on extra work, to do things that technically aren't in your job description. How do you say no to your boyfriend without worrying it'll affect your relationship? It was a fair question, one Maya hadn't let herself think about too hard. We need rules, she said slowly. Professional separation. At work, you're my boss and I'm your assistant. Period. After hours, we're together. But one doesn't bleed into the other. Can we actually do that, though? Keep them separate? We have to, otherwise this gets messy fast. Maya took a breath. And I think maybe I need to start looking for another job. Eventually. Not right away, but if we're serious about this, I can't stay your assistant long term. Daniel looked stricken. I don't want you to leave. I don't want to leave either. But Daniel, your mother was right about one thing. There's a power imbalance. You control my paycheck, my career trajectory, my references. As long as I work for you, there's always going to be a question about whether this is real or whether I'm just securing my position. Anyone who knows you would know that's not true. Maybe, but I'll always wonder. And you might too, even if you don't want to admit it. She reached for his hand. I'm not quitting Monday. I'm not leaving you in the lurch. But in a few months, maybe 6, I think I should start looking for something else. A lateral move to another firm or a different role. Something where we're equals. Daniel nodded slowly, pain and understanding both visible in his expression. You're right. I hate it, but you're right. We have time to figure it out. Let's just focus on now. On figuring out if this works when we're not in crisis mode. The band started playing again. The Nearness of You, the song Maya had chosen as theirs when they were building their fake relationship. Daniel's eyes met hers across the table. Dance with me, he said. Here? There's no dance floor. I don't care. He stood, pulled her up, and drew her into the narrow space between tables. Other couples were doing the same, swaying to the music in the low light. Maya fit against him like she'd always belonged there, her head on his shoulder, his arms around her waist. I meant what I said last night, Daniel murmured against her hair. About seeing you, about wanting this to be real. I know. I meant what I said too. I'm going to mess this up sometimes. I'm out of practice at dating, at being someone's partner. Emily and I were together since college. I don't know how to do this with someone new. Then we'll figure it out together, both of us fumbling through it. Maya pulled back enough to see his face. You don't have to be perfect, Daniel. You just have to be honest. I can do honest. He kissed her, slow and sweet, and Maya felt that same shift she'd felt on the terrace, the moment when pretending stopped and truth began. They stayed until the club closed, dancing and talking and learning each other outside of work, outside of family pressure. When Daniel drove her home, he walked her to her door like a proper date, kissed her goodnight like he had all the time in the world. Tomorrow, he said, Lily wants to see you, if you're free. No pressure. What does she want to do? Museum. The Natural History Museum specifically. Something about dinosaurs, and you promised to help with her science project. I don't remember promising that. Lily has selective memory when it comes to promises she wants people to make. Daniel smiled. But seriously, only if you want to. This is a lot. Meeting family, spending time with my daughter. We can slow down. Maya thought about it. The smart thing would be to slow down, to take time, to not get tangled up in his daughter's life before she was sure this would last. But Lily had drawn her in a family picture, had made her a card with glitter, had asked if she could love both Maya and her mother at the same time. I want to, Maya said. Tomorrow, museum, dinosaurs, all of it. You're sure? I'm terrified. But yes, I'm sure. Sunday morning arrived with rain that matched Maya's nervous energy. She met Daniel and Lily at the museum entrance, and the moment Lily saw her, she launched herself into a hug that nearly knocked Maya over. Maya, you came! Daddy said you might be busy, but I knew you'd come because you promised to help with my volcano project, even though Daddy says that's not the same as dinosaurs, but museums have everything, so we can look at both, right? Maya caught Daniel's eye over Lily's head. He mouthed sorry, but he was smiling. Right, Maya agreed. Dinosaurs and volcanoes. We can do both. Lily grabbed her hand and pulled her inside, chattering nonstop about T-Rexes and Triceratops and which dinosaurs were the coolest. Daniel followed behind, carrying a backpack full of snacks and water bottles and what looked like an entire art supply store. She gets excited, he explained when Maya raised an eyebrow at the overstuffed bag. I see that. They spent 3 hours wandering through exhibits. Lily asked a million questions, read every placard, insisted on sketching her favorite dinosaurs in a notebook. Maya found herself charmed by the little girl's enthusiasm, by her unfiltered curiosity, by the way she'd grab both Maya's and Daniel's hands when she saw something particularly cool. At lunch in the museum cafe, Lily presented Maya with the card she'd made. Construction paper covered in glitter and stickers, and a drawing of the three of them with "I'm glad you're my daddy's girlfriend" written in careful 6-year-old letters. You're missing an apostrophe, Daniel said automatically, then caught himself. But it's beautiful, Ladybug. I'm sure Maya loves it. I do love it, Maya said, her throat tight. It's the best card I've ever gotten. Better than birthday cards? Lily asked seriously. Much better. Good. Because I worked really hard on the glitter placement. See how the hearts are all sparkly? That's because love is sparkly. Daniel coughed to cover what might have been a laugh or a sob. Maya just smiled and tucked the card carefully into her purse. After lunch, they walked through the Hall of Ocean Life, Lily now fixated on whales instead of dinosaurs. She held Maya's hand the entire time, pointing out facts she knew, making up stories about the exhibits. And Maya felt something shift inside her. A recognition that this was real, that Lily was real, that the stakes of this relationship involved more than just her and Daniel. When they finally left the museum, Lily was exhausted, practically asleep on her feet. Daniel carried her to the car, and she barely woke up when he buckled her in. She likes you, Daniel said quietly as they stood by Maya's subway stop. A lot. I like her too. She's remarkable. She is. She's also going to be devastated if this doesn't work out. He looked at Maya seriously. I need to know you're sure. Not about me. About all of it. About potentially being in her life long term. Maya thought about the card in her purse. About Lily's easy "I love you." About the weight of being someone a child could count on. I can't promise forever, she said honestly. I can't promise this will work out perfectly, and we'll all live happily ever after. But I can promise I'm not going to hurt her on purpose. I can promise I'll try my best, and I can promise that if things don't work between us, I'll still care about what happens to her." Daniel nodded, seeming to accept that. "That's all I can ask." He kissed her goodbye, quick because Lily might wake up and see, and Maya rode the subway home feeling like she'd crossed some invisible threshold. This wasn't fake anymore. This wasn't even just about her and Daniel. This was about a family, fractured and rebuilding, and she was choosing to be part of that. Monday morning arrived with all the anxiety Maya had been avoiding. Walking into the office as Daniel's girlfriend instead of just his assistant felt like wearing a sign that said, "Everything has changed." She arrived early, made coffee the way she always did, organized his calendar the way she always did, tried to pretend everything was normal. Daniel arrived at 8:30, and the moment their eyes met across the office, normal shattered. "Morning," he said, casual but loaded. "Morning, coffee's ready. You have a 9 o'clock with the Hendricks team and a 10:30 with Johnson." "Thanks." He hesitated at his office door. "Maya, we should probably talk about how this works." "Here." "Agreed." "After your meetings?" "After my meetings." The morning passed in strange tension. Maya did her job, Daniel did his, and on the surface, everything looked the same. But every interaction felt charged now. Every time she brought him coffee, every email, every moment their hands brushed passing documents. At 11, Daniel closed his office door and gestured for Maya to sit. "This is weird," he said bluntly. "Incredibly weird," Maya agreed. "We need ground rules, clear boundaries." He pulled out a notepad, which was so Daniel that Maya almost laughed. "At work, we're professional, boss and assistant. No special treatment, no relationship stuff bleeding into business." "Agreed, and I don't want people to know, not yet. The gossip will be brutal." "They're going to find out eventually." "I know, but let's give ourselves time to figure out what this is before we deal with office politics." Maya took a breath. "And Daniel, if you ask me to do something professionally that I'm not comfortable with, I need to be able to say no without it affecting us personally." "Absolutely. Same goes for me. If something at work affects our relationship, we address it. Communication." "Communication," Maya echoed. They spent 30 minutes hashing out boundaries, rules, how to navigate the impossible situation they'd created. By the time they finished, Maya felt marginally better. At least they were trying to be smart about it. The rest of the week passed in similar fashion, professional at work, personal after hours. They had dinner twice, just the two of them. Coffee dates before work, long phone calls after Lily went to bed where they talked about everything and nothing. On Thursday, Maya had lunch with Jenna and confessed how it was going. "So let me get this straight," Jenna said. "You're dating him for real now. You've met his kid multiple times. You're going to Thanksgiving with his family, but nobody at work knows, and you're still his assistant?" "When you say it like that, it sounds messy." "That's because it is messy, Maya. This is the definition of messy." Jenna softened. "But you seem happy, terrified but happy." "I am, both." Maya picked at her salad. "Is it insane that I'm already thinking about what happens after? Like, if this works, where do we go from here? Do I move in eventually? Do I become more involved in Lily's life? What does this look like in a year?" Those are reasonable questions for someone in a relationship. We've been officially together for a week. You've also known him for 2 years and been half in love with him for most of that time. You're not starting from scratch. Jenna reached across the table. "My advice? Stop overthinking. Just be in it. See where it goes. You don't have to have everything figured out right now." It was good advice. Maya tried to follow it. Friday night, Daniel came over to her apartment for the first time. They ordered takeout, watched a movie, and halfway through he pulled her close. "I have something to tell you," he said, nervous. Maya's heart jumped. "Okay?" "Emily's parents want to meet you, my former in-laws. They're in town next weekend and they asked if they could take us all to dinner, you, me, and Lily." "Oh." Maya sat up, trying to process. "That's big. Do they know about us?" "I told them I was seeing someone. They want to meet you because they're part of Lily's life. They see her twice a month. They're important to her." He rubbed the back of his neck. "I know it's a lot." Emily's parents meeting my new girlfriend. If you're not ready, I can tell them." "I'll do it," Maya said. "If they're important to Lily, then yes, I'll meet them." "You're sure?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway. That seems to be my approach to everything lately." Daniel laughed and kissed her. "Thank you for being brave, for choosing this even when it's complicated. Thank you for making it worth choosing." They finished the movie curled together on her second-hand couch, and when Daniel left at midnight, Maya stood in her doorway watching him go and thought about how much her life had changed in 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, she was invisible. Now she was Daniel Brooks' girlfriend, was becoming part of Lily's life, was about to meet his former in-laws and spend Thanksgiving with his terrifying family. 2 weeks ago, she was safe and lonely. Now she was terrified and somehow happier than she'd been in years. The following weekend arrived too quickly. Maya spent Saturday morning getting ready to meet Emily's parents with a level of anxiety that rivaled the Patricia dinner. These were the parents of Daniel's late wife, the grandparents who'd lost their daughter and now had to watch their son-in-law move on with someone new. Daniel picked her up at 6, Lily bouncing in the back seat. "Nana and Pop-Pop are going to love you," Lily announced. "I told them you're really nice and you know about dinosaurs and you make Daddy smile." "You told them I make your dad smile?" Maya met Daniel's eyes in the rearview mirror. "She's not wrong," he said quietly. The restaurant was elegant but warm, and waiting at a table were an older couple who stood when they saw them. The woman, Emily's mother, had kind eyes and silver hair. The man was tall, quiet, watchful. "Daniel," Emily's mother said, hugging him, "and this must be Maya. I'm Catherine, this is Robert, and our beautiful Lily." She swept Lily into a hug, and Maya watched the easy affection between them. These people loved Lily, had helped raise her. They were part of her family. Dinner was easier than Maya expected. Catherine asked gentle questions about her work, her family, how she'd met Daniel. Robert was quieter but observant, studying her like he was trying to see what Daniel saw. Lily filled silences with chatter, completely comfortable, anchoring the table. Halfway through dessert, Catherine reached across the table and took Maya's hand. "I want to thank you," she said quietly, "for making Daniel smile again, for being good to our granddaughter. Emily would want them to be happy. She'd want Daniel to move on, and I think she'd like you." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "I'm not trying to replace her." "We know that, dear. No one could replace Emily, but life goes on. Love continues. That's not betrayal. That's being human." Catherine squeezed her hand. "You make him happy. That's enough for us." Robert nodded his agreement, and Maya felt something release in her chest. Acceptance, permission, the blessing of people who had every right to resent her. They left the restaurant and said goodbyes in the parking lot. Lily hugged her grandparents, promised to call them soon. Catherine hugged Maya last. "Take care of them," she whispered. "They've been through enough." "I will," Maya promised. "I'll try." In the car on the way home, Lily fell asleep almost immediately. Daniel reached for Maya's hand. "That went well," he said, sounding relieved. "Your former in-laws just gave me their blessing to date you. I don't know if that's wonderful or surreal." "Both, definitely both." He glanced at her. "One more week until Thanksgiving. Are you ready for round 2 with my mother?" "Absolutely not, but I'm doing it anyway." "That's becoming your motto." "It's a good motto." Maya looked out at the passing city lights. "Daniel, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you ever feel guilty about moving on, about being with me when Emily's only been gone 2 years?" He was quiet for so long, Maya thought he might not answer. Then he pulled over, put the car in park, and turned to face her. "Every day," he said quietly. "Every single day, I feel guilty. Guilty that I'm happy when she's not here. Guilty that Lily's starting to accept you when she should still be grieving her mother. Guilty that some mornings I wake up and don't think about Emily first thing." His eyes were bright with unshed tears. But Catherine was right. Life goes on. And Emily would be furious if I spent the rest of my life being miserable because she died. She'd want me to move forward, to give Lily a full life, to let myself feel things again. But that doesn't make it easier. No, it doesn't. He took Maya's face in his hands. "But you make it better. Being with you doesn't erase Emily or dishonor her memory. It just means I get to have a future instead of just a past. Does that make sense? Yes, Maya whispered. It makes sense. He kissed her there in the parked car, Lily asleep in the back seat, and Maya felt the weight of what they were building. Not a replacement for what Daniel had lost, but something new, something fragile and precious and worth protecting. They drove the rest of the way in comfortable silence, and when Daniel walked Maya to her door, Lily still sleeping in his arms, he kissed her good night and said, "I'm falling in love with you. I thought you should know." Then he was gone, leaving Maya standing in her doorway with her heart racing and tears streaming down her face, because she was falling in love with him too, with both of them, with the possibility of a future she'd never let herself imagine. And for the first time in her careful, invisible life, Maya Collins was choosing to be brave enough to fall. Maya stood frozen in her doorway long after Daniel's taillights disappeared down the street, his words echoing in her head. "I'm falling in love with you." 3 weeks ago, she'd been his invisible assistant. Now she was the woman he was falling in love with, and the weight of that truth was both terrifying and exhilarating. She texted him before she could overthink it. "I'm falling in love with you too." His response came immediately. "Good. Now get some sleep. Big week ahead. Thanksgiving. The Brooks family holiday." Maya had survived one dinner with Patricia, barely, but a full day with the entire family felt like volunteering for combat. The week leading up to Thanksgiving passed in a blur of work and stolen moments. Daniel and Maya maintained their professional boundaries at the office, but the secret was starting to leak. Maya caught curious glances from other assistants, whispered conversations that stopped when she walked by. Someone had seen them having coffee together. Someone else had noticed the way Daniel looked at her. On Tuesday, Jennifer from accounting cornered Maya in the break room. "So," Jennifer said, pouring coffee with exaggerated casualness, "you and Mr. Brooks seem close lately." Maya's stomach dropped. "We work together. We've always been close." "Right, work." Jennifer's smile was knowing. "Just be careful. Office romances can get complicated, especially when there's a power differential." "There's nothing," Maya started, then stopped. The lie felt wrong. "It's complicated." "I bet it is." Jennifer's expression softened. "For what it's worth, I think he's been different lately. Lighter. Whatever you two are doing, it seems good for him." After Jennifer left, Maya leaned against the counter, her hands shaking. They needed to tell people, make it official. The whispers and speculation were only going to get worse. That evening, she brought it up with Daniel over takeout in her apartment. "People are starting to notice," she said, picking at her pad thai. "At work, they're asking questions." Daniel set down his fork. "What kind of questions?" "The kind that means they know something's going on, but they're waiting for confirmation." Maya met his eyes. "We need to tell HR. Make it official. Otherwise, we're just giving the rumor mill ammunition." "You're right. I'll talk to HR tomorrow. Let them know we're in a relationship, that we've established boundaries, that it won't affect our professional performance. And when they say I need to transfer to another department, or that one of us needs to leave, then we deal with it, together." Daniel reached for her hand. "Maya, I meant what I said. I'm falling in love with you. I'm not letting you go because of office politics. Even if it means one of us loses their job. Even then, we'll figure it out." The certainty in his voice steadied her. They would figure it out, somehow. Wednesday morning, Daniel met with HR. By lunch, the official word had spread. Daniel Brooks and his assistant Maya Collins were in a relationship, fully disclosed, with appropriate boundaries in place. The office buzzed with gossip. Maya endured curious stares, a few congratulations from colleagues who seemed genuinely happy, and one uncomfortable conversation with her supervisor about maintaining professionalism. "This is so weird," Maya told Jenna over the phone that night. "Everyone knows now. They're all watching us." "Let them watch. You're not doing anything wrong." Jenna paused. "How do you feel? Really?" Terrified, exposed, but also relieved. The secret was exhausting. "And tomorrow, Thanksgiving with his family?" "Don't remind me." Maya looked at the dress Ashley had lent her for the first dinner, now cleaned and hanging in her closet. His entire extended family will be there. 30 people, all judging whether I'm good enough for Daniel. You survived Patricia Brooks. You can survive anything. Maya hoped she was right. Thanksgiving morning dawned cold and clear. Daniel picked up Maya at 9, Lily already dressed in a velvet dress, and talking nonstop about pumpkin pie and seeing her cousins. Are you ready? Daniel asked as Maya slid into the passenger seat. No, but I'm doing it anyway. He smiled. Your motto serves you well. The drive to Westchester felt shorter this time, maybe because Maya knew what to expect. The house looked even more imposing in daylight, decorated now for the holiday with tasteful wreaths and elegant arrangements. Cars filled the circular driveway, expensive sedans and SUVs that spoke of family wealth. Deep breath, Daniel said, squeezing her hand. Remember, we're in this together. Inside the house was chaos. Children ran through hallways, adults clustered in conversation groups, servers moved through rooms with trays of champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Patricia held court in the drawing room, elegant in ivory cashmere, directing the organized chaos with the precision of a general. Daniel, Maya, you're here. Patricia's smile was warmer than last time. Not exactly welcoming, but not hostile either. Maya, come meet the family. The next hour was a whirlwind of introductions. Cousins, aunts, uncles, family friends. Maya smiled until her face hurt, made small talk about work in New York and her family in Ohio. Some people were genuinely warm. Others were politely curious. A few looked at her like she was an interloper who didn't belong. Lily stayed close to Maya, proudly announcing to anyone who would listen that Maya was her dad's girlfriend and had helped her with her volcano project. Her enthusiasm was endearing and mortifying in equal measure. Ashley found Maya in the kitchen, escaping for a moment of quiet. Surviving? Ashley asked, pouring them both wine. Barely. There are so many people. Brooks' family Thanksgivings are legendary. Mom invites everyone within 3 degrees of separation. Ashley clinked her glass against Maya's. You're doing great, though. I've been watching. You're holding your own. I feel like I'm performing in a play where everyone knows the script except me. That's exactly what it is. Welcome to high society. It's all performance. Ashley's smile turned serious. Daniel looks happy, really happy. I haven't seen him like this since before Emily died. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Dinner was announced, and they all moved to a dining room that actually did seat 30 people. Patricia had seated Maya between Daniel and one of his cousins, a kind woman named Margaret, who worked in publishing and was genuinely interested in Maya's background. Ohio State, Margaret said. Good school. What made you move to New York? Dreams of making it big, I suppose. Typical story. Small-town girl wants to conquer the city. And did you? Conquer it? Maya thought about it. 2 years ago, she would have said no. She was an assistant, invisible, going through motions. But now, sitting at this table with Daniel's hand on her knee, with Lily grinning at her from across the table, with a future that felt possible instead of predetermined, maybe she had conquered something. Maybe she'd conquered her own invisibility. I'm working on it, Maya said. The meal was elaborate and endless. Patricia gave a toast about family and gratitude and tradition. Children got restless and were excused to play. Adults lingered over wine and dessert, conversation flowing around Maya in comfortable rhythms. She was helping clear plates, unable to sit idle while servers did all the work, when Patricia appeared beside her in the kitchen. You don't need to do that, Patricia said. We have staff. I know, but I can't just sit there. Maya set down the plates. I'm not used to being waited on. No, I suppose you're not. Patricia studied her. Walk with me. I want to show you something. It wasn't really a request. Maya followed Patricia through the house to a study lined with bookshelves and family photos. Patricia gestured to one. Daniel and Emily on their wedding day, both of them impossibly young and radiantly happy. She was 22, Patricia said quietly. Daniel was 23. Too young, I thought. But they were so in love, so certain. I couldn't say no. She picked up another photo, Emily holding baby Lily, exhausted and glowing. She was a wonderful mother, devoted. She gave up her own ambitions to support Daniel's career, to raise Lily. I admired that about her. Maya didn't know what to say. This felt like a test, but she couldn't tell what the right answer was. You're not like her, Patricia continued. Emily would never have stood up to me the way you did at that dinner. She was sunshine, warm, agreeable, eager to please. You're, she paused, searching for words. You're steel, quiet steel, but steel nonetheless. I'm not trying to replace her. I know. That's what makes you right for Daniel now. Patricia set down the photo. He doesn't need another Emily. Emily was perfect for who he was then, young, ambitious, building a life. But he's different now. He's a widower, a single father, a man who's learned that life can be cruel and unpredictable. He needs someone who can handle that weight, someone who won't break under pressure. Maya's throat tightened. I'm not sure I'm that person. You stood up to me. You defended my son in front of my entire family. You've taken on the complicated mess of dating a widower with a young daughter, and you haven't run away screaming. Patricia's smile was small but genuine. You're exactly that person. You just don't know it yet. Why are you telling me this? Because I was wrong about you. At that first lunch, at the dinner, I thought you were a gold digger or a phase or someone Daniel was using to avoid dealing with his grief. But I've watched you with him, with Lily. I've seen how you look at them when you think no one's watching. You love them, actually love them. Not what they can give you or how they can elevate your status. Just them. Patricia's eyes, so like Daniel's, held hers. That's rare. Don't waste it. Before Maya could respond, Patricia swept from the room, leaving her alone with photos of a family she was slowly becoming part of. She found Daniel on the terrace, the same terrace where they'd kissed at the first dinner. He was alone, looking out at the gardens. Hiding? Maya asked, joining him. Needed air. Too many people. He put his arm around her. You okay? Your mother just gave me her blessing. I think. It's hard to tell with her. Daniel laughed. If she took you aside for a private talk, that's definitely a blessing. She only does that with people she's decided to accept. She showed me pictures of Emily, told me I'm different from her, that that's what you need now. She's not wrong. Daniel pulled her closer. Maya, I need to tell you something. I've been thinking about it all week. Her heart jumped. Okay. I talked to HR about us. They said as long as we maintain boundaries, we can continue working together. But I also talked to them about creating a new position, Senior Operations Manager. It would be a promotion for you. More money, more responsibility, different reporting structure. You'd still work closely with me, but you wouldn't be my assistant anymore. You'd be my colleague. Maya stared at him. You created a position for me? I proposed it. HR and the partners have to approve. But I made the case that you've been doing work above your pay grade for 2 years, and it's time we recognize that. This way we eliminate the power dynamic issue and you get the recognition you deserve. He looked nervous. If you want it. If you don't, that's okay too. I just thought. Maya kissed him, cutting off his rambling. When she pulled back, she was smiling. I want it. Yes. Absolutely yes. Yeah? Yeah. Though this means I'll have to actually be qualified for the job instead of just being good at anticipating your coffee needs. You're qualified. More than qualified. You run my entire professional life. You just haven't had the title or the pay to match. He kissed her forehead. I should have pushed for this a year ago. I'm sorry it took dating you to make me see it. Better late than never. They stood together on the terrace as the sun set, and Maya felt pieces of her life clicking into place. A job that recognized her worth, a relationship that felt real and solid, a family that was learning to accept her. It wasn't perfect. There would be challenges ahead, navigating office politics, learning to be a parental figure to Lily, dealing with the inevitable scrutiny. But standing there in Daniel's arms, Maya felt ready to face them. I love you, she said quietly. I know it's fast and probably insane, but I love you. Daniel's arms tightened around her. I love you too. Have for a while now, I think. I was just too stubborn to admit it. When did you know? Honestly, the conference room? When I kissed you and you kissed me back instead of slapping me or running away, I knew then that I wanted it to be real. That was a panic kiss. It was a revelation. He turned her to face him. I know we have things to figure out. Lily, work, how fast we're moving. But Maya, I'm in this, all the way. Are you? She thought about the card Lily made, about Patricia's unexpected blessing, about the life she could have if she was brave enough to reach for it. All the way, she confirmed. Inside, someone called that it was time for pie. They rejoined the family, and Maya found herself pulled into conversations, included in jokes, treated less like an outsider and more like she belonged. Lily climbed into her lap during dessert, sticky with whipped cream, and declared that this was the best Thanksgiving ever because Maya was here. Later, when they were saying goodbyes, Patricia pulled Maya aside one more time. "Christmas," she said. "You'll be here for Christmas, family tradition. I expect you." It wasn't a question, but Maya answered anyway. "I'll be here." "Good. And Maya, welcome to the family. Try not to let us destroy you." "I'll do my best." The drive home was quiet. Lily fell asleep immediately, exhausted from playing with cousins. Daniel drove with one hand on the wheel and one holding Maya's. "That went well," he said. "Better than expected. Your mother didn't eviscerate me even once." "She likes you, in her terrifying way." He glanced over. "Ready for the next challenge?" "What's the next challenge?" "Meeting my work colleagues at the holiday party next month. Navigating office dynamics now that everyone knows. Figuring out how to balance being my girlfriend and being respected at work." "One crisis at a time," Maya said. "We'll figure it out." "We will." When they reached Maya's apartment, Daniel walked her to her door while Lily slept in the car. "Stay tonight," Maya said. "Both of you. It's late. Lily's asleep. Just stay." Daniel looked surprised. "You sure? We haven't spent the night together yet." "I know, but I want you to. Want both of you to." Maya took his hand. "Unless you're not ready." "I'm ready. Let me get Lily." He carried his daughter upstairs, and Maya transformed her studio apartment into something that could accommodate them. Lily barely woke up when Daniel laid her on Maya's bed, just mumbled something about dinosaurs and went back to sleep. "She's out," Daniel whispered. "Good. Come here." They curled up on Maya's couch, exhausted and happy, and talked quietly about the day. About Patricia's approval, about the new job possibility, about the future that was starting to take shape. "I can't believe a month ago I kissed you in a conference room and now we're here," Daniel said. "Feels like a lifetime." "Feels like everything changed in an instant," Maya agreed, "but also like it was always heading here." "Do you believe in fate?" "I believe in choices. We chose each other. That's better than fate." Daniel kissed her, slow and deep, and Maya felt the truth of it settle in her bones. They had chosen this. Despite the complications, despite the risks, despite everything that could go wrong, they had chosen each other. Around 2 a.m., they finally moved to the bed, arranging themselves around sleeping Lily. Daniel spooned Maya from behind, Lily curled against her chest, and Maya had the strange thought that this was what home felt like. Not a place, but a configuration of people. She woke to early morning light and the smell of coffee. Daniel was in her tiny kitchen, making breakfast while Lily sat at the counter drawing. The scene was so domestic, so normal, that Maya's chest ached with the beauty of it. "Morning," Daniel said, noticing her. "Hope you don't mind. I found your coffee and eggs." "I don't mind." Maya joined them, accepting the mug he handed her. "What are you drawing, Lily?" "Our family, with the turkey from yesterday. See? That's you, that's Daddy, that's me, and that's the turkey we ate." Maya looked at the drawing. Stick figures around a table, everyone smiling. She was included without question, part of the family narrative. "It's perfect," she said. They spent the morning together, lazy and easy. Daniel made pancakes that were slightly burned. Lily insisted on watching cartoons. Maya sat between them and felt the future taking shape around her. Eventually they had to leave. Daniel needed to get Lily home, and Maya had laundry and errands and the normal business of life. But saying goodbye felt different now, less like ending and more like pause. "I'll see you Monday," Daniel said at her door. "At work, where we'll be professional and appropriate." "Very professional." "But then Monday night, dinner at my place? I'll cook. Lily wants to show you her room." "I'd love that." He kissed her goodbye. Lily hugged her tight, and then they were gone. Maya closed her door and leaned against it, smiling like an idiot. Her phone buzzed. Jenna. How was it? Did you survive? Maya typed back. Better than survived. I think I might actually belong there. Look at you. 3 weeks ago, you were terrified of taking up space. Now you're part of the Brooks family. Tentatively part of. We're still figuring it out, but you're figuring it out together. That's what matters. The next few weeks were a study in balance. Maya and Daniel navigated work carefully, maintaining boundaries, proving they could be professional. The new position came through, senior operations manager, with a salary bump that made Maya's eyes water and responsibilities that actually matched what she'd been doing. Her last day as Daniel's assistant was bittersweet. She trained her replacement, an efficient young man named Marcus, who seemed terrified of Daniel, until Maya assured him that underneath the intensity was a good boss who valued competence. He seems scary, Marcus said during their final training session. He's not. He's just focused. Do your job well, anticipate his needs, and he'll appreciate you. Just don't expect a lot of praise. He shows appreciation through trust, not words. Her first day in the new role felt like shedding a skin. She had her own office now, small but hers. She attended meetings as a participant, not as someone taking notes. Colleagues who'd barely noticed her as an assistant treated her as an equal. It was disorienting and wonderful. How does it feel? Daniel asked over dinner at his brownstone, Lily coloring at the table. Like I can finally breathe, Maya admitted. Like I've been holding myself small for so long and now I get to stretch. You were never small, just invisible by choice. He reached for her hand. I'm glad you're choosing to be seen now. Christmas approached with alarming speed. Maya spent it with the Brooks family again, but this time felt different. She knew people's names, understood family dynamics, could navigate conversations without Ashley's guidance. Patricia gave her a thoughtful gift, a first edition book of poetry that must have cost a fortune. The gesture felt like final acceptance. On Christmas night, back at Daniel's house with Lily asleep upstairs, Daniel gave Maya his gift, a key to his brownstone. It's too soon, he said, nervous. I know it's too soon, but you're here all the time anyway, and I want you to feel like this is your space too, not just mine, ours, if you want it to be. Maya stared at the key, at this symbol of permanence and belonging. I want it to be, she said quietly. But Daniel, we need to talk about Lily, about what I am to her. I'm not her mother. I'll never be her mother. But I'm also more than just your girlfriend at this point. We need to define it. What do you want to be to her? Maya thought about the drawings, the museum trips, the easy way Lily reached for her hand. Someone safe. Someone who loves her and will be there for her. Someone who helps her remember Emily while also helping her build a future. That's exactly what she needs, what we both need. Daniel pulled her close. Move in with us. I know it's fast. I know we've only been together 3 months, but this works. We work. And I don't want to wait anymore. What about Lily? Have you asked her? It was her idea. She asked last week if you were going to live with us because it would be better if Maya was here all the time. Maya's eyes burned. She said that? She did. So what do you say? Will you move in with us? Help me turn this house into a home again? Maya looked around the brownstone, at Lily's drawings on the fridge, at the photo of Emily that Daniel kept on the mantle, at the life they were building that honored the past while reaching for the future. Yes, she said. Yes, I'll move in with you. They told Lily the next morning. She cheered, immediately started planning how to rearrange Maya's things, announced that Maya should have the guest room as an office because grown-ups need offices. The move happened gradually over January. Maya sublet her studio apartment, brought her belongings to Brooklyn box by box, integrated her life with theirs. It was messy and complicated and sometimes overwhelming. They had their first real fight over dishwasher loading techniques, had tearful conversations about boundaries with Lily, navigated the strangeness of becoming a family unit, but they also had movie nights on the couch, breakfast chaos on school mornings, the comfortable rhythm of shared life. Maya learned Daniel's patterns, his moods, his tells. He learned hers. Lily adjusted with the resilience of children, treating Maya's presence as natural and necessary. At work, Maya excelled in her new role. She proved herself not as Daniel's girlfriend, but as a professional who deserved her position. She built relationships with colleagues, led successful projects, earned respect on her own merit. Daniel watched with obvious pride, and Maya felt something shift. She wasn't invisible anymore. She was visible, valued, essential. 6 months into their relationship, on a Saturday morning in February, Daniel found Maya in the kitchen making coffee while Lily practiced her reading at the table. "I have something to tell you," he said, and Maya's heart jumped because those words had preceded every major shift in their relationship. "Okay?" Emily's parents want to take Lily to Disney World for spring break. Just them and her, a grandparent trip. Maya processed this. And it means we'd have a week alone, just us. No kid, no work pressure, just time. He looked nervous. "I was thinking maybe we could go somewhere, a real vacation. Figure out what we are when we're not in survival mode." "We're not in survival mode anymore, Daniel. This is just our life now." "I know, but I want dedicated time to talk about the future, about what we want this to look like long term." Maya's pulse quickened. "What do you want it to look like?" Daniel took her hands. "I want you here, permanently. I want to stop calling you my girlfriend and start calling you my partner. I want Lily to have stability, and you to have security, and all of us to have a future we build together." He paused. "I'm not proposing, not yet. But I'm saying I want to, eventually, when we're both ready. Is that something you'd want?" Maya looked at him. This man who'd started as her boss, become her fake boyfriend, turned into her real love. She looked at Lily, absorbed in her book, comfortable with Maya's presence. She looked at the life they'd built from chaos and lies, and choosing each other over and over. "Yes," she said simply. "That's something I'd want. Eventually." Daniel's smile could have lit the city. He kissed her, sweet and full of promise, and Lily looked up from her book. "Are you guys being gross again?" she asked, wrinkling her nose. "Very gross," Daniel confirmed. "Good. That means you love each other. Mrs. Chen says when grown-ups love each other, they do gross kissing." Lily went back to her book, completely unbothered. Maya and Daniel laughed, and in that moment, Maya knew with absolute certainty that they were going to be okay. More than okay. They were going to build something real and lasting and true. The kiss that had started as an act of desperation in a glass-walled conference room had become the foundation of a life. Not a fairy tale, not a romance novel, but something better. A hard-earned second chance at happiness, built on honesty and choice and the courage to be seen. 8 months later, on a crisp October evening, Daniel took Maya back to the jazz club in the village where they'd had their first real date. The same table, the same music, the same bourbon. But everything else was different. "I have something for you," he said when the band took a break. He pulled out a small velvet box, and Maya's breath caught. "A year ago, I kissed you in my office because I was desperate and terrified, and you were there. I thought it was a panic move, a mistake, something we'd laugh about later." He opened the box, revealing a simple, perfect ring. "But it wasn't a mistake. It was the bravest thing I've ever done. Choosing you, letting you choose me back, building this life together." "Daniel, I know we said eventually, but Maya, I don't want to wait. I want to make this official. I want you to be my wife, Lily's stepmom, my partner in everything. I want the rest of our lives to start now." His voice shook. "Will you marry me?" Maya looked at the ring, at this man who'd given her visibility and voice and a family. She thought about the terrified assistant who'd agreed to a fake relationship, who'd stood up to Patricia Brooks, who'd chosen to be brave. "Yes," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, absolutely yes." He slid the ring onto her finger and kissed her while the other patrons applauded. The band started playing The Nearness of You, their song, and they danced in the narrow space between tables just like they had a year ago. But this time, nothing was fake. Everything was real, the love, the commitment, the future, stretching out before them. They told Lily the next morning. She shrieked with joy, immediately started planning the wedding. "Can I wear a princess dress? Can we have a chocolate fountain? Can my dress be purple?" And announced that she was going to tell everyone at school that Maya was going to be her real mom now. "Not your real mom," Maya corrected gently. "Emily will always be your real mom, but I'll be your stepmom who loves you very much." "Can I call you Mom?" Lily asked, suddenly shy. Maya's throat tightened. She looked at Daniel, who nodded, eyes bright. If you want to, Maya said softly. I'd be honored. Okay, Mom. Lily tested it out, smiled. Mom, I like it. The wedding happened 6 months later, small and intimate, at the brownstone. Patricia cried and actually admitted she'd been wrong about Maya. Emily's parents attended, gave their blessing, told Maya that Emily would have approved. Ashley was maid of honor and gave a toast about how love finds you when you're brave enough to let it. Lily was flower girl in a purple dress as requested and walked Maya down the aisle with complete seriousness. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, Lily loudly proclaimed, I don't! I want them to get married! Sending the small gathering into laughter. They exchanged vows they'd written themselves. Daniel promised to see her always, to never let her feel invisible again. Maya promised to be brave, to choose him every day, to help him build a future that honored the past but didn't live in it. When they kissed as husband and wife, Lily cheered louder than anyone. At the reception in the garden, Maya found a quiet moment alone. She thought about the woman she'd been a year and a half ago, quiet, careful, invisible by choice. She thought about the terrified assistant who'd agreed to a crazy scheme. She thought about every moment that had led her here. You okay? Daniel asked, joining her. More than okay. I'm happy. Actually, genuinely happy. Me too. He pulled her close. Thank you. For what? For saying yes in that conference room, for playing along, for making it real, for choosing us even when it was terrifying. He kissed her forehead. For being brave enough to be seen. Maya smiled against his chest, watching their guests mingle, watching Lily twirl in her purple dress, watching the life they'd built from one desperate kiss. She'd been invisible for so long, had chosen quiet over noticed, safe over spectacular. But standing there in Daniel's arms, wearing his ring, with Lily calling her mom, and a future full of possibilities stretching ahead, Maya realized that being seen was worth every risk. The kiss that began as a lie had become the most honest thing in her life, and the desperate single father who'd grabbed her hand in a moment of panic had become her home. Not a fairy tale, not a scandal, just a hard-earned second chance, built on honesty and choice and the courage to love openly, bravely, without reservation. For Daniel, it wasn't about finding love again. It was about choosing it. For himself, for his daughter, for the future he was finally ready to claim. For Maya, it was about claiming space, demanding to be seen, and discovering that visibility was a gift she'd been denying herself all along. Together, they built something real from the fragments of lies and loss. And in the end, that was the truest thing of all.